4th down and 3 from the 16-yard line of Kansas State. Beck from the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Hard snap count again. And now Rocco takes the snap, looks left, fires that way. It's caught by Hansen, and he fights for the corner, spins off a tackler, and gets to the goal line. Touchdown, Carson Hansen. Oh my goodness, they flared it out to Hansen out of the backfield. They might review it to see if he actually got across.
It's almost as good if he doesn't.
And that is going to do it. How about these Cyclones? Career victory number 100 for Matt Campbell as the Cyclones win the Aer Lingus College Football Classic.
That's the way it sounded over the weekend as we have tackle football, real tackle football that counts in the standings. Welcome in. This is three-man front. Week 1, week 0 is in the books. That's the way it sounded as Iowa State took care of Kansas State 24-21. Wow, Landrum, what a way to start the college football season.
Yeah, another exciting game that we got there in Dublin. You had 2 ranked teams and turnovers. That was an issue that came back to bite Kansas State. But congratulations to Iowa State. There's nothing like going all that way and coming back 1-0.
And I'm really glad the second half turned out to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Because the first half, 4 fumbles, 8 punts, 21 points. And you heard Kleiman at halftime. The field was in terrible shape. Both teams, it looked like both teams had not played a game yet. And then when you go overseas to do it and you play on a soccer pitch as opposed to an actual football field, then that can present some problems like it did in the first half.
But it was better than not having any games. We had competitive football. And like you said, the second half, it seemed like things kind of settled down and slowed down for both of those teams.
I love the first half.
Well, of course you did.
I love chaos and
like
madness and punts.
Yep, slippery footballs.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah, I had texted Molly during the game. I was like going, please tell me y'all had better weather when y'all were over there because the first half was looked like you were playing the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I sent him a picture of when I was there, and it was gorgeous skies.
I just imagine the weather being like that all the time over there.
Yeah. It's pretty
I
cloudy.
know that it's not, but when I picture even Ireland or I'm watching the Open somewhere across the pond, I just envision it being that way.
That you're always on a links course.
Yeah. Right?
Winds blowing.
There's wind,
rain.
enough rain to make you mad.
Mm-hmm. So we had a close game last year between Georgia Tech and Florida State. This year it was Iowa State over Kansas State. Rocco backed 183 yards, responsible for 3 touchdowns, including that big-time throw there on 4th down. I mean, that was huge with 2:26 to go in the game. The post-game story, though, the big one, was what happened outside of Aviva Stadium. It showed 2 Kansas State supporters wrestling around in a parking lot puddle. And then, of course, we found out later that it was the father and brother of the Kansas State quarterback, Avery Johnson.
It just means more.
I guess so.
Even in the Big 12, it just means more.
And then the Johnson family had to release a statement yesterday afternoon apologizing for their shenanigans in Dublin.
Passionate people, man. But when I saw the story, I thought this absolutely could fit in the SEC.
Oh, easily.
With a lot of the fan bases.
Could you imagine if that was an SEC, like it was a conference game in Dublin to start the season? Between just name 2 SEC fan bases?
Yeah.
How much fun that would be.
Give us Tennessee and Ole Miss.
Ooh. Or how about playing the Egg Bowl there?
Ooh.
That'd be good. How about this? How about Florida LSU?
Another good
Those
one.
2 fan bases over there.
I think anything with LSU involved, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I would love
right?
to see LSU.
Yeah. That would be big. Coming up today on the program, we're going to give you a listen in to a couple of other press conferences besides the fact that Kalen DeBoer, you will hear that in its entirety at 12 noon. Hugh Freeze, typically on Mondays, he's going to be on at 11 o'clock. But today, because the Friday game, the schedule, he is going to be on at 1:30 with his weekly press conference. But we've got Mike Norvell coming up at 10:30. A little bit after that, we've got Dave Aranda. So we're going to try to give you a listen in to see what those 2 coaches have to say about Florida State hosting Alabama. And, of course, the Baylor Bears hosting the Auburn Tigers. First time since, 1977 that Auburn has played in Waco, Texas. So we will listen to all the coaches involved in the big games. But we go back to Saturday. We just talked about what took place in Dublin, Ireland. Let's go to the final game of the day, which was over in much better weather in Honolulu, in Hawaii, as the Fighting Rainbow Warriors were taking on the Stanford Cardinal. And this is a very special moment. Take a listen to the way it sounded on CBS Sports Network.
There is Kansei Matsuzawa. Again, he learned how to kick watching YouTube in Japan. Wanted to be a college player. Went to junior college in the Midwest because he wanted to go someplace where they didn't speak Japanese. Learned the language. Arrived here last year. And the game may rest on his right foot. Snap. Kick is up and good! And Hawaii has done it!
Unbelievable, gritty performance.
Unbelievable. Big win for Hawaii. They take care of business 23-20. It's a Japanese kicker who learned how to kick on YouTube, went to JUCO to learn English. And they also had a quarterback, Conrad, that was playing on one leg. Did it remind you of Tua, any? The left-handed Hawaiian quarterback?
Maybe just a little bit. At least he came out of the injury tent and got to keep playing, unlike we saw happen with Tua too many times in
Numerous
his career.
times with Tua.
Yeah, numerous, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, what a cool story, and you heard a little bit of it there, but a guy who came over to America on vacation when he was growing up, attended an NFL game, said, I want to learn how to kick like that, learns on YouTube, like you heard him say, he went to a junior college in Ohio, learned how to speak English, and then yesterday, or on Saturday, hit 3 field goals, including the game-tying field goal with 2 minutes left, and then the game winner as time expired. What a cool story and one of those very, very special moments in sports.
Well, I'll tell you what, based on the information that I've heard the last couple of weeks at Alabama camp,
they could use a guy like that.
Can he transfer to Tuscaloosa? Because that might be an issue.
Oh, you have a missed kick on Saturday in Tallahassee, people are going to start going, we got some kid on campus that's watching YouTube right now?
People that own kicking academies and run those things, this is their worst nightmare.
You really can learn to do anything on YouTube now.
Yeah, almost anything.
So we've got some sound of Matsuyama, right? Or what's his name? Matsuzawa? Matsuzawa. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear what he sounds like.
I'm kind of nervous right now, more than like when I kicked game-winning field goal. Like speaking English is tough, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the moment, and when we gave up the second touchdown to the Stanford, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be my game, and I just prepared game-tying field goal and also game-winning field goal. I knew that was gonna happen, so like, just focus on myself. That, like I said, and that's the thing only I can do. So control what I can control. That's everything I do on the field.
Is there anything this kid can't do? There was no broken English there.
I thought he's
got the coach speak down perfectly.
But it didn't sound broken at all.
I can guarantee you, if I did learn Japanese, my version would not be that clean.
No, mine either.
But how cool is that? He wanted to go to school in Ohio because he wanted to go somewhere he would be forced to learn to speak English because they wouldn't be able to speak Japanese.
Didn't I read, was he
crazy.
like a waiter at Applebee's or somewhere like that?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but yeah, he was a waiter in Japan. Mm-hmm.
What a cool story.
Awesome story.
So the Rainbow Warriors get their first win over a power conference team since the second week of the 2019 season. It had almost been 6 years to the day that they beat a Power 4 opponent. Unbelievable.
How much did Jim Phillips drink on Saturday night?
I think they probably know that Stanford's...
How much did Andrew Luck drink on Saturday?
Yeah.
Stanford's in for a long season. But Hawaii coach Timmy Chang, he got a $7,500 bonus by beating a Power 4 opponent.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't go a long way over there, from what I've heard.
No,
pretty,
that might be
pretty
a
pricey.
Yeah.
tank of gas right there.
Can of Spam.
For the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hawaii gets the big win. Almost a disaster in Las Vegas, Nevada, as the Runnin' Rebels' new head coach, Dan Mullen, at halftime, he was losing 17-14 to Idaho State. Matter of fact, UNLV trailed 31-24 with 13 minutes and 40 seconds left to play. But then the Rebels defense stepped up, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, former Michigan quarterback Alex Orji. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, he was supposed to be what? Milroe, right? Wasn't that the comparisons?
Actually, maybe in hindsight, a pretty accurate comparison, all things considered.
But he scored the winning touchdown on an 11-yard scramble. I guess the thing that's just, and it's the first game of the season, a lot of weird things happen. UNLV was picked number 2 in the in the Mountain West Conference in the preseason poll. Idaho State was picked 7th in the Big Sky, which is an FCS, by the way.
Yes.
It's not an FBS. And UNLV was a 30.5-point favorite. UNLV was, sorry. And we played that. Did you win that? Who won that?
I took it. I took Idaho State.
Yeah, by the way.
I was about to say, that was Brett Norsworthy's bold pick of the week, and he hit it.
Yeah. By the way, you went 5-0.
Yes.
You were perfect. Molly went 4-1.
Almost perfect. Thanks, Dan Mullen.
And you went 2-3.
Very on brand.
It was a rough Friday for Conrad. The Rebels gave up 555 yards of offense to an FCS opponent.
Man, you better be really good on offense. You're going to do that.
And by the way, I'm just thinking ahead. I'm not saying it's my lock of the year, but I think the over, wherever it's going to be set for Sam Houston versus UNLV this week, take the over.
Yeah.
Probably a good bet.
I can see that.
Yep.
It's probably a good one. The other kicker is UNLV paid ISU $415,000 to play that game. That is 15% of Idaho State's total football budget for the year. Their football budget's only like $2.5 million for the entire year. So almost got out of there with a win and a nice check.
I'm just glad
it's one game, but I just don't see it lasting a super long time there for Dan Mullen.
Let's hear from old Dan, the former head coach of Mississippi State and Florida. His running Rebels get victory number 1.
Told you we were going to put on a great show, right? Right? In the words of Maximus Decimus Meridius, are you not entertained? That was pretty entertaining. It was fun.
Good spirits from Dan.
Yeah, he also went on a little bit
We're going to
later.
get more movie quotes. We got Aranda from the Wolf of Wall Street.
He also took a shot at tennis players later on in that press conference.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He said if you're, because tennis is an individual sport. Mm-hmm. So, everybody should be excited. If you're not in the locker room celebrating the win, then you might as well go play tennis. Because tennis is such an individualized sport. So
doubles.
On the one hand, it's like, okay, cool. I get it. It's your debut. A lot of things went wrong. A win is a win, right? But it is kind of shocking to hear a coach of Dan Mullen and what he's accomplished in his career to escape versus Idaho State and be, oh, yeah, that was great. Wasn't that entertaining? I guess, but I feel like you have a lot of things to fix and work on this week, Dan.
Did you guys find the game somewhere to watch?
No.
Mm-mm.
I tried.
It was on the Mountain West Network.
Mm-hmm.
I tried multiple places, but you read all the so-called game notes, and it was supposed to be on CBS Sports Network, and there was a WNBA game on.
Yeah. No, it was on Mountain West Network.
I was following on my game tracker just on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The old school way.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas beats Fresno State 31-7. Jalen Daniels, good afternoon. $300 million stadium looked awesome.
Looked nice.
It did.
Looked really nice.
Be proud of it.
And then Western Kentucky took out Sam Houston 41-24. Maverick McIver, 25 years old, the quarterback.
He can sling it.
He went for 401 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for another score.
Did you see Sam Houston's conversion rate on third down? I think they were 2 of 14.
Oh, that's efficient.
That's a stat that we will follow. Yeah, you do that in most games, you're going to come out the loser.
Hilltoppers had 506 yards of offense. That's why I was saying,
yeah,
UNLV, Sam Houston this week. That one might be a game worth penciling in for an over. I don't even know what the over is in that game, but whatever it is, might not be enough.
It's probably like 75, right?
Based on what we saw.
Low 70s?
Based on what we saw in week 0.
I think it was 66 in the Idaho State game, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it might be about that in this game.
Yeah, probably so.
Let's see if I can find it.
Not sure if it's been posted yet. A lot of those will wait till Tuesday morning, but on regular game weeks. Yeah. So a lot going on this Reaction Monday. We'd love to hear from you on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450, 1-800-239-WJOX. We're going to hear from Kalen DeBoer a little bit later, along with, obviously, Hugh Freeze as they get ready. You got a line?
I got one, 60.5.
Ooh.
UNLV minus 10. Traveling.
Okay. Traveling on the road.
Yep.
To Texas.
On a Friday night.
Beware.
What a weird way to start off your season.
It is. Idaho State that you almost lost to, and now you go on the road to Sam Houston. Good times.
Good luck, Dan.
Yep. Week 1 is here. We'd love to hear from you. Again, we will hear from Mike Norvell, David Randa, Kalen DeBoer, Hugh Freeze, all that straight ahead on Three Man Front. It is 10:19. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front on Jox. Just went over some of the highlights of week 0 in college football. And each and every Monday on this program, brought to you by Train, we have instituted back the hot and cold segment that we used to do back in the day. And Molly is going to take that over. And Molly, I know there were some interesting things, both hot and cold, that you saw over the weekend.
Yeah, so my hot for the week, and I know we brought it up in the first segment, But it's the one and only Hawaii kicker, Kanze Matsuzawa. Because obviously, when you come from, I think, Hocking College is the school he came from in Ohio, you go there to learn English, and you go to YouTube, and you essentially learn how to kick. That is incredible. And plus, his walk-off field goal is what helped me in my Bet It or Forget It standings as well, because I did pick Hawaii. I think, Landrum, you did too?
I did.
Okay, so yeah, that was very high. Now, cold. My Saturday was great. But Sunday, for one of my fantasy leagues, I had my fantasy draft. And I guess the manager of our league decided that it would be a really cool idea to do an auction draft again, which I absolutely despise.
Explain that to me. I do not know what that means.
So technically, you get a certain amount of money in your draft, and you have to bid on each player. And whoever gets the highest bid wins that player. It is awful because I don't like spending money to begin with. So I don't like doing it. And if you have auto bid on, like let's say you're not paying attention, you could be bidding back and forth with somebody for a player you might not want. And then you waste all your money, and then you might have $1 for the rest of your roster. It is terrible. I do not recommend it.
So how did you end up with your team? Were you happy with your team?
Not real. I mean, I'm going to be honest. No one's team is really that great, and I guess that's kind of the parody of it. I did get Amon-Ra, though. That was who I really wanted. I got, let's see, Joe Burrow's my quarterback. I have CeeDee Lamb. I have Amon-Ra. Mark Andrews is my tight end. I have the Tampa Bay kicker, the Browns defense, James Conner from the Cardinals, and then like Chase Brown from the Bengals, and that's my team.
Have you had one
That's
of those
a pretty good team.
drafts before,
It's
Conrad?
really not that bad.
That's a good team.
I thought she was about to say Joe Flacco was her quarterback.
Oh,
yeah, I was
no.
about to say you have a really good
No,
team.
I got Shiesty.
Have you done one of those auction fantasy drafts?
No, I don't like.
They're terrible.
I don't like that format. I like the snake draft. Yeah.
The snake draft is way better. Because if you're someone like me, I don't like bidding to begin with anyway. Because it shows you like the value of each player. But a lot of times you're going over because a guy like, I don't know, a Saquon or a CD, like there's a lot of people bidding for those players.
Fantasy drafts are too long as it is. I can't imagine doing one of those.
Oh,
I
it's horrible.
I wouldn't be a fan of that either.
It's so long.
Unless you had a live auctioneer that they brought in.
There you go. So yeah, that's my freezing cold. If you're a fantasy person out there, do not recommend an auction draft. Just stick with snake.
Good advice.
Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Exactly. Yep. Well, the Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal, but don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Trane cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand for 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at Trane.com.
So FSU quarterback, he may not have the respect from Bama fans like Conrad, but he has the respect of his teammates and coaches. Tommy Castellanos, he was chosen to break the rock after a successful fall camp. Now, breaking the rock is a tangible symbol there in Tallahassee of the team achieving its goals, such as finishing a tough camp. And the player is chosen because he demonstrates the team's values, or CLIMB. You know what CLIMB stands for? I'm going to tell you. Commitment, little things, intensity, mental toughness, and brotherhood.
Yeah.
So that's why he was given the opportunity to break the rock. And just moments ago,
what was it, character first?
Commitment.
Oh, commitment.
Yeah, because he's been so committed to Central Florida. No, I'm sorry. Boston. No, I'm sorry.
No.
It's his third school. So, yeah, he's shown a lot of commitment.
The State
there.
University of Florida.
Yes. Currently. Never know. Because he quit 3 games in last year, Boston College. Anyway, the depth chart has come out at Florida State, and Tommy Castellanos is your starting quarterback, according to the depth chart. How about Hueytown's Roydell Williams? Remember him?
Yes.
6th year of eligibility.
Number 5?
He is listed
6
as an OR in regards to the starting running back position. He is in a battle with Gavin Sawchuk. Does that name sound familiar, Conrad?
Say that name again.
Gavin Sawchuk.
That name does sound familiar.
He ran the ball 2 times for 8 yards against Alabama last year at the University of Oklahoma.
Okay.
So Sawchuk and Roydell Williams are battling for the number 1 running back position. And don't forget one of the named wide receivers in the number 1 position, Squirrel White from the University of Tennessee, who is now playing for the Seminoles.
He went and got paid.
Mm-hmm.
As we were talking about before the show, you did games that Roydell was played in high school, right?
No, I did not.
You never did?
I did.
I did a game at Hueytown that he was a running back, and this was when he would have been an underclassman.
He was good. Real good.
But hard to believe that you just brought that up. That
6
was almost
years.
a decade ago.
Yeah, 6 years of eligibility. So when we come back on Three Man Front, we'll try to go down to Tallahassee and let you listen to Mike Norvell as his team gets ready for the Alabama Crimson Tide on this Reaction Monday on Jox. $10:29 on this Reaction Monday. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. Landrum, Molly, Conrad. I'm Pat with you until 2 o'clock today. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer coming up at 12 noon. Hugh Freeze at 1:30. Different time frame, weekly that you'll typically hear Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze will be every Monday at 11 o'clock, but because of the game on Friday night, doing things a little bit different this week in regards to media availability. Auburn had its final scrimmage on Friday night. No big surprises there. Trying to keep everybody healthy, but they went through the dress rehearsal as they get ready for the Friday night game in Waco, Texas.
Jox text line is open. That is the best way to get in touch with us every single day here on the show. 205-834-9450. Going back to the University of Hawaii's kicker. This text reads, my son tried to walk on at Alabama as a kicker/punter. and they warmed up for 45 minutes. And then they were told to leave because they could not use footballs and send in film. If you don't have a kicker or punter, it's your fault, Alabama.
Ouch.
I'm just reading them. This one rolling in. An interesting question or prediction would be, what percentage will Alabama go for it on 4th down this year instead of kicking a field goal? With Grubb, I'd say well over 50%. Thoughts?
I was told that the back end of last week, the kickers had a much better day, but leading up to that point, they had been disappointment.
All right. Going back to not being able to find the game.
The UNLV game.
UNLV and Idaho State game. One of our listeners says YouTube live streams always has the game. Just look up who's playing. I couldn't find it.
I tried every trick I knew. I could not find it.
Did you?
I couldn't either.
Did you call you and Conrad's friend?
The one in Guatemala? No, I didn't reach out to him on Twitch.
What was the game again?
It was the Monday Night Football game. It was when Conrad and our DirecTV was turned off because the whatever was going on between ESPN and DirecTV.
I always remember that kid as Lupe.
It might have been Lupe. But yeah, he was having a good time there in Guatemala, just streaming the game.
Here's a familiar name / voice. We will just get the text today on the text line. Don.
Who?
Don.
I'm not familiar with that name.
If we could do it in his voice, it'd be great. Hello, my friends on the way back from vacation. Prediction Monday. Auburn 31-17. One defensive touchdown late to put the game away. Bama will win 31-20, but won't cover the spread. So Conrad will lose his friendly wager with my friend FSU Dave, our favorite chair umpire of our crazy crew.
All right, let's go to Tallahassee, Florida. Let's take a listen, if we can, to Mike Norvell, who is meeting with the media.
And let me preface this. They were having audio issues at the beginning, so this is about a minute or two into his press conference, but he's talking about Alabama here.
No problem.
Quality opponent, top 10 ranked team, a lot of excitement around our program. So looking forward to a big week of preparation. I like the things the guys have done up to this point. We have got a jump start on Alabama, and now it's just it's about continuing to grow and improve throughout this week, so we can go play at at our best level. Come 3:45 on Saturday.
First question will be Brendan. As you've gone through camp and preseason, all the good stuff, do you have a sense for what this team is? What do you know, I guess, about this team personality-wise and even schematically? What are things you think you guys can call upon this year?
Yeah, I've been really pleased with the competitiveness of this team, and all situations that we've tried to throw at them. It's easy to say offense, defense, but special teams work, everything that they're doing, growing in our situational awareness, trying to see guys that take ownership in what they're being asked to do on a specific play, whether it's coverage, run scheme, obviously technique or fundamental that they have to use, but really more the mentality about how they go into to executing that. And I really have liked the fight that I've seen in this team throughout our preseason workouts, and really since I got here, in the off season, stemming all the way back from January, and I think that's going to be a great characteristic that's needed, and something that we were looking for, and obviously come Saturday, we're going to get to see them do that against another opponent, and I do think this is a team that has a lot of versatile playmakers. When you look on both sides of the ball, guys that can align in different places, with what they're being asked to do. And I'm excited to see all of it come together. With the different combinations, but also the 11 guys that take the field to go get the job done.
Chase Lofton listed as a wide receiver. I know you guys have talked about his ability to flex out. Can you kind of paint the picture of how he can be used?
Yeah, Chase is somebody that we're really excited about, and just from coming in the spring to what he was able to show, seeing how that's been able to transition. He's a very natural route runner. He's got great explosiveness, ball skills. He's a guy that really has earned opportunity. And, I love our tight end room with the guys that we have there. And I think that, Chase being able to put himself in this position is a testament to his work and ability, and I'm really fired up to see what he's going to be able to do throughout the course of this season, and starting here Saturday.
We saw the video you guys put out of Tommy breaking the rock at the end of camp. You knew what a playmaker he was coming in. I know you knew him personally from recruiting as well, but has he exceeded any expectations? Has he been exactly what you guys wanted since he came in?
Yeah, he's, we had very high expectations, when he joined the program of what he, of what he would bring. And, it's easy to see the athleticism, the skill, the games that he's played, the impact that he can make. But what I've been, just very proud of him for the investment in others, the investment into the program. He brings a great spirit, into this building, and whether it's how he greets people walking in the door, whether it's the Extra Point Club ladies that are sitting at the front, to how he interacts with managers, trainers, his teammates, the competitiveness that he brings, the challenge that he presents, and just seeing when he steps on the field, guys striving to be better, and you need that from that position. And he's definitely provided a great spark for this team, and I think guys have rallied with him in this off season, and definitely excited to play for him. And I think that Tommy's earned that throughout this time here at Florida State, and I was really pleased to see that to see him break the rock, but it was pretty easy decision just watching the way that he comes to work every day, and what this team, his teammates mean to him.
Javen Boggs gets the starting receiver role. I know you've talked a lot about him throughout the offseason, but what was it that truly separated him to kind of get that role so quickly? Well,
I think he's been extremely productive. He is, from the spring to fall camp, you saw growth. He is definitely great, got a wonderful skill set. But when he's got his opportunities, he's capitalized on them, and he still has a lot of growth in front of him. But he's put himself in this position, and I think he's earned the opportunity. And so most freshmen that come in, they all want to play, and they'll say it, they'll sound good. Some of them have the ability and talent, but it's just also carries over into the mindset, carries over into making sure that you know what to do, how to do it, and then the consistency of being where you need to be, and being able to execute when your number's called. And so I think Javen's done a really nice job of put himself in that position, and I'm excited to see him go compete on game day.
Players who weren't listed on the depth chart, maybe we're expecting Lewayne McCoy, Kevin Wynn, are those injury related, and health-wise going into Alabama? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, those are the two guys that'll be out this week. They're expecting a relatively quick return, but those are two guys that will not be available.
One guy who did come back from injury later in the fall was Jason Jenkins, and he gets a start. In that short amount of time that you were able to see him out there, what was it that kind of stuck out so he could get that starting job?
Yeah, he's a violent player, and he is. You feel his presence. We knew that whenever he was coming in. Unfortunately, it was delayed in person. Just with the injury there in the spring, and having to kind of work through his rehab process. But he attacked every day, and I've used him as an example. I think I mentioned him and Jacob Rizzi, both guys that that had spring injuries that really had to bust their tails to get back to have an opportunity in this game. And both of them came back before but was initially thought would be the return date, and for them to both get live work in that second scrimmage, and to see them, to go out there and function, and really even in these last couple of weeks, just be able to grow throughout, knocking some of the rust off, and just the technique, the fundamentals, the communication, playing faster. I think both of those guys have done a really impressive job in the things that controlling the things that they could control in putting themselves in a position. But I think Jason is he's a guy I'm really looking forward to seeing out there on the field, and he brings a physicality and an explosiveness that's absolutely needed, and plays with an incredible motor.
Brendan, when we spoke to you in the final week of camp, you mentioned the safety position. Maybe it was the boundary safety, one of the safety spots being what you were looking forward to. Looks like Ashton Barker was listed. I guess, how did that shake out to you? What did he do to kind of distinguish himself?
Yeah, I mean, Ashton's, I think he's taken some tremendous strides. And, he was a guy that when he came here, was kind of limited just on overall, experience. And, he dealt with injury in high school, went to junior college, was able to come in and, really, was learning on the run. And you see that you've seen his growth. You saw some plays last year that showed up in special teams, a little bit defensively. But I think he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's got great size. You can run. You definitely a physical presence. You see him. I think KJ Kirkland's continued to emerge. You can see him. A good amount there. You'll hear this weekend as well. A guy that can play multiple positions. But it's a competitive group, and it's. I think it's a testament to the consistency of what Ashland's done, but it's also we got guys there that we're very confident and can play at a high level.
That is Mike Norvell, his weekly press conference as they get ready to host the Alabama Crimson Tide coming up on Saturday. We will try to listen in to Dave Aranda a little bit later this morning as he's meeting with the media, as he will preview the Auburn game. First time since 1977 that the Tigers will be heading to Waco. And then you will hear in its entirety the Kalen DeBoer press conference at noon and Hugh Freeze at 1:30. So we got a lot of coach speak going on today, and we will share all of that with you as the show moves along.
Well, you want a great beverage that doesn't contain alcohol, that can keep you going, elevate your mood this football season. Our friends at Mystic Beverage right there in Blount County, Alabama. Sparkling spring water that is absolutely delicious, and the cans have gotten a new look, a makeover, if you will. My favorite's the Lift Blend. It's got the green coffee bean extract. It's not going to make you feel queasy, but it's going to pick you up, give you that clean pick-me-up during the day when you're watching football and you're trying to hang out with friends. Also, you can go with the High Heels Delta 9, or you can go with the Nirvanic. Great products. You can find all of their brands there at mysticbeverage.com. Again, a great Alabama-based company. You can find it at your local Piggly Wiggly and other retailers. Just go to mysticbeverage.com for more information.
It is Reaction Monday. We'd love to hear from you on the text line, 205-834-9450, brought to you by Courtesy GMC. The phone number is wide open, 1-800-239-WJOX. That's what they were playing yesterday afternoon in Atlanta as the Braves knock off the Mets 4-3. Oh, is this the Braves or the Seminoles? What are we talking about?
I turned the light on my phone and started doing the chop. I thought we were talking Braves.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were talking about. Braves win yesterday 4-3. They avoid the first ever sweep by the Mets at Truist Park. It had never happened before. Matter of fact, the last time they swept the Braves in Atlanta was back in 2016 at the old stadium. How about that?
Just doesn't happen.
No. Never had happened at Truist. So the Braves get the win 4-3 over the Mets. And every game now for the Mets, it's crucial because they're in a dogfight to try to get into the playoffs. And so that was a tough loss for them. They had won the first two games.
What a terrible franchise.
Yeah, of the series. Also got a little bad news of the weekend in regards to Major League Baseball. So for the first time in 4 years, Major League Baseball is returning to Iowa. The Iowa game is coming back in the cornfield.
Shucks.
Yeah. I was disappointed because I was hoping that Birmingham would be able to get a game, but instead they are going back to Iowa. If you remember, back in 2021 and 2022, they played there. But the interesting part of it was they dismantled the field. It was a temporary stadium. They dismantled it. They sold it. And then the property, which Frank Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, he and a group of investors, the former Auburn first baseman, Hall of Famer, played for the Chicago White Sox, his group bought the area, and they have built a stadium on the site. Now, it's going to be less than the 7,000, I think, was there for the temporary stadium a few years back. But Major League Baseball is set to announce the whole entire schedule for next season tomorrow, but it's already leaked out that the game is returning back to Iowa, and it will be the Minnesota Twins taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Twins will be the home team, as the Phillies and Twins will be back in the cornfields there in Iowa. So I was kind of bummed about that. I was really hoping that Birmingham would have been able to.
But I was looking at the plans, and I don't know if they completed all of this for the design, but they had a lot of youth ball fields that they were building there.
They did do that.
Which is really cool. But they were adding 100 acres to the existing 190-acre site. You got a 100,000 square foot field house, 9 fields for youth baseball and softball, and a 104-room boutique hotel.
Mm.
Also an RV park, concert amphitheater, jogging trails through the cornfields, and a park designed to be inclusive for children and adults with disabilities. Cool project.
Kind of hoping that we'd have gotten maybe the Braves and the A's.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
That would have been cool. But hey,
maybe
the next year.
Maybe next year, yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll wait for 2020. Oh.
Yeah, there won't be any baseball. See, that will be our luck. They'll announce, hey,
I know.
we're going back to Birmingham in 2027.
Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah. There's no baseball. Might be scabs.
It might be.
Yeah. It's your Monday edition of things to look forward to.
Might be a bunch of guys that are currently on the Rockies roster. You never know.
All right, so speaking of things to look forward to, as Auburn fans out there, are you ticked that RG3 is going to be on your broadcast on Fox?
God.
The dude's bad anyway on TV, but now you got to
How
suffer through him.
insufferable is that going to be?
That's going to be awful.
How many people will sync up the radio call with their television so they don't have to listen to
Well,
RG?
I think a lot of people do that anyway to listen.
I hope that you have that ability
broadcast.
to do this for this game, because I can't do it.
Man, I saw that and I was like, oh.
I would almost rather listen to the Baylor radio broadcast.
I know this is going to sound like we're just taking shots at RG3, and we kind of are.
We
but
are.
He is the one college football broadcaster where if I find out he's on a game, I'm less excited for that game.
And it was really bad when he was teamed up with Jones at ESPN.
It wasn't great.
He's awful. He is.
It's bad.
He's not my favorite.
It's rough.
Or second. Or third.
I mean, whether you like someone's political background or not, it's just the fact he was just a bad broadcaster. What is going on in there? What are you doing?
I was monitoring Dave Aranda because he's late to his press conference, and we just got a lovely advertisement that was really loud.
Oh, okay. Speaking of broadcasters this weekend, our teammate Greg McElroy, he will be doing the University of Miami Notre Dame game. That's on Sunday night on ABC. And then Fowler and Herbstreit, they're going to be doing the LSU Clemson game there on Saturday night on ABC. So Herbstreit, Fowler, Saturday night on ABC. And then on Sunday, we'll have our teammate Greg McElroy taking on the Miami and Notre Dame broadcast.
800-239-WJOX is the phone line. Our buddy PG wants to chime in. PG, what'd you think about Dan Mullen and the Fighting Running Rebels the other night?
Oh, man, I was hoping he was going to lose. I thought they had it, and I said, Lord, he'd come back, and I said, crap. But, hey, and then he did a shot. I think he did a shot at us during the week about, something, he won't leave us alone. I wish, when some of these coaches leave and go, they don't throw shots back at us, but I guess that's the way it is.
Brian Harsin has got to be one of the worst that I can remember. For a guy that made out like a bandit, goes out of his way to, what is it, cheers to the winners?
Yeah, and a guy that never won anything at Auburn.
Yeah, that's amazing. How these coaches, I guess it's called retaliation, but getting fired. Dan Mullen's ego is so huge. Even high school coaches in Florida didn't want to deal with him. That's why he said recruiting's only, summertime or something like that. I don't do 24/7. So.
Hey, PG, I got some breaking news for you. You want some breaking news?
Yeah,
from Sunbelt Billy.
Go ahead, bro.
He has just announced that DJ Lagway
is
the
starting
QB against LIU on Saturday.
All right.
Sharks won't know what hit them.
Nope. Those those northern guys that isn't that weird that Florida is playing a team named Sharks?
You know what?
Will Jim McElwain be in attendance?
If you're going to play a lettuce game, let it be against a school where we weren't quite sure they had a football team.
You know what's good about it? Who said that about the Sharks? That's what I was going to say. It has to deal with the Jim McElwain story.
That was
that was good. Because I believe that's what had to deal with that team because of the Shark incident, which I believe that wasn't really true. But, what the heck?
Well, I mean, now that we know that Connor Stallions was called by Central Michigan and Jim McElwain to be on the sideline, would you now go back and think that might have been him laying naked on the Shark?
You're probably right. Oh, Lord,
I mean, it changes my whole perspective.
We can't
on the whole
rule
incident.
anything out now.
Yeah.
No.
Isn't a shark's skin like sandpaper?
I think that would hurt.
I thought it was rubbery.
Maybe he's into that.
I don't know until I go down to Panama City September 11th and see if I get bit by one out there.
Tie some bait fish to your leg, and there's a good chance you will.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hey, got my prediction now. Not for the Florida State-Alabama game. And I want to follow up on it. I know some people are not going to be happy with this, and they're going to say, go the other way next time Pelham Gator makes a prediction because you're going to win money or something. But I got the score is an upset, FSU 34, Alabama 28. And the reason I say that, they're pretty loaded. They've got a good coaching staff. But what I really like is every time they play a big opener, like with LSU, they beat them back-to-back, remember? And they always seem, except for Georgia Tech. Now, if they play Georgia Tech, they're in trouble. But something about this game has got, these fans are going to be wild and crazy down there.
Hour number 1 in the books, getting ready for the 11 o'clock hour. We will head down to Waco, Texas, and hear from Dave Aranda. We just heard Mike Norvell from Tallahassee as he's previewing the Alabama game coming up on Saturday. You know, don't wait for a small problem at your house on your roof to become a huge disaster. Abide Roofing, they're here to help you today. Call Abide Roofing, 205-941-6223. They can come out to your house. They can give you a free, no-pressure roof inspection to make sure your home is safe. And now is the perfect time to do it because the next couple of days it's supposed to be pretty weather, which means no rain. So it'll get the team an opportunity to get on your roof. And once again, it's free, no pressure roof inspection. They can tell you what's going on up there and whether it's a couple of shingles that need replacing, or if you need a whole roof replacement, they can deal with your insurance company. They can do it all. And if your yard is still soggy from all that rain we've experienced, they also handle tree removal. Abide Roofing has your back no matter the circumstance. They'll even work directly with your insurance company to make sure you get and what you need to protect your home by being able to get your insurance company to cover those issues. I've seen their great work firsthand. Travis and his team are licensed, they're bonded, insured pros who genuinely care about the product and what they do for you. So if you're worried about your roof after the storm or before the next one, give them a call at Abide Roofing. That's 205-941-6223, or go to their website, abideroof.com. Let's go to Waco, the birthplace of Dr. Pepper and Baylor University's Dave Aranda.
It's good to see everybody. Excited for this moment. Good practice today. The focus and intensity in our guys and the staff is where you'd want it to be. Everyone's looking forward to this one. You know, a lot of respect for Auburn and Coach Freeze, and know a lot of the coaches there, and know a lot of those players. And so a lot of respect for them and what they can do and what they're capable of, and really want them to achieve all of that. Just not here in this first game. And so looking forward to kicking the season off. And I know that our guys are trying not to count the days, but work during these days in the lead up to. Take any questions you got.
Dave, I know you guys approach every opponent like the same in terms of preparation and everything. Is it different, though, going up against a Power 5, Power 4 school, in terms of the excitement that brings to the players and maybe what it could do for you if you win that game?
I try to not focus on that. The emphasis is still the same as you mentioned. I think it's very much heavy on the outside of our building, very heavy not that. And so I try to, you know, if they're colored by all of it outside the building, when they come in the building, I try to be able to turn it the other way. And so that's always a hard thing, especially when there's no school. You know, school was today. Or even now where there is school, there's going to be, you know, when you don't have them the entire time, I think it's always difficult.
I think that outside noise kind of, I mean, Baylor's been trying to build this game up, right? The chrome helmets, drone show, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. How big does that make this game? Maybe just playing into that and feeding into that. Have you talked to the guys at all about that?
No. You know, I think the game is big, and hey, they got us in a negative first down. It's second down, right? They know we're going to pass. Can we protect? Can we get separation on the receivers? And, you know, hey, we have a one-on-one tackle. Can we make it? You know, hey, we have an edge set. Can we fill and beat the crack block, and can we play the crack and go that's coming later? You know, those are the moments I think about.
Coach Auburn's got some really good receivers. I guess, how do you think your secondary is equipped to handle those receivers with kind of some of the pieces you brought in?
It's a challenge. I think it's a challenge. I think it's going to take the front people doing their part to help the people that are in the back. I think we're going to have to be able to get calls in. We have to have cleats in the ground. You know, I think if you're looking at it as a one-on-one or 1 versus 1 proposition, I can see where maybe from the Auburn side you're feeling confident about all of it. I think We have to look at it as hey, this is where my help is. This is where I'm playing to my help. This is my part in the thing. I'm going to do my part so that the overall team can execute. And so I think pass rush is a big part of that too. I think, it's going to come down to stopping the run and getting them into when we feel like they got to throw it. I think if they're running the ball and they can play action pass and 4x1 RPO kind of at will, then I think we're not kind of in control of anything, and then that's when those matchups become an issue. I think if we're able to get it to where it's a one-sided thing, at least partly, I think we can play some of that better.
Coach, do you have a health update on Carl Williams?
I don't think he's going to be back. I just passed him in the indoor, and they're repping him right now, kind of post-practice on trying to loosen him up and that, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it.
Dave, you mentioned the pass rush. I know you don't want to give us your whole game plan here, but would this be an opportunity to blitz a little more to maybe to try to help those guys on the back end?
It's interesting because a lot of respect for a QB that they have, and we've watched a lot of film of him, whether it's OU or even high school, and got a big arm, so he's a big shot guy, and then is confident and collected enough to get checkdowns, but the scrambles are worrisome, and so I think more games are lost rather than won early in the season. You look at the games that were played in week 0 here, just all the turnovers and just all of it, and I think our game is probably going to be lost before it's won, and so by somebody, and so I just think being aggressive and all these things are things that you want to do, and all this, you got to be sound. You got to keep the quarterback contained. You got to make them earn it. And so those are things we're focusing on.
Dave, second year call in place for you again. What was the biggest challenge or philosophy change you made in adapting your defense this year compared to last season?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think I think in this league, I think the tempo, the offensive skill, I think the Big 12 favors offensive skill players, talent and everything, to defensive skill players. I think that there's a bunch of creativity and tempo, and I think in the past at other leagues there would be plays that could hit, or they probably would hit, but there would be, man, I'm not going to call this in this game because if it doesn't hit, man, I'm going to get criticized. There's none of that in this league. That'll be one of the first 3 plays, and so there's kind of a go for the jugular thing, and I think to combat that, you have to know how they're seeing you, right? They want the information of what coverage you're in, what front you're in, and how it works. A lot of them have the playbook pages to all of it, and so then I think if you start from that, there's a fair amount of kind of overhauling, from the ground up work you got to do. So it's been cool to do that with this group. I'm excited to see how it looks.
Dave, with this game being played on a Friday, how do you balance being grateful for the opportunity playing in front of a national audience on a big stage, but also understanding the concerns of the THSCA of a FBS game being played on a Friday in Texas?
Yeah, when there was another game that was being talked about for being played on Friday too, possibly, and had calls to the Texas High School Coaches Association, and that kind of thing went away. And then I think this was possibly talked about as a Thursday prior. And once the one Friday game with the other opponent went away, the very next week this game came up. It was a Friday game. And so at that point you're kind of going, this is what it is. And, just the talks with just everyone involved, kind of being honest, and everyone understands why we're doing it. And so I just think, you have to be able to have those honest talks. And I'm thankful for everyone involved that we did that.
Good grief.
That was Dave Aranda, the head football coach of the Baylor Bears.
As you're laying down to sleep tonight, put all your troubles of the day behind you. Breathe slowly through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Then let's talk about this big matchup we have coming up Friday. Oh, my goodness.
Just take yourself back to college. Imagine you have an 8 a.m. lecture, and that's what you have to listen to every day.
Woo! I'm out during the first break.
I would not.
I'm out.
Don't think I'd be doing great in that class.
Some of the news for Auburn fans, notable takeaways. Carl Williams, he said that he just passed him in the facility, didn't think that he was going to be back. Carl Williams, one of those returning guys with experience in the secondary, plays the nickelback position, if you will, but not available. Kobe Prentice, though, apparently is available, and he will be starting for the Bears.
I was really hoping by the time we got about 5 minutes into it that we were going to hear another reference that would make national headlines.
To Little People?
I don't, whatever.
I
Just
thought
to
he
make
would
it
go
a little
back.
bit more exciting.
I thought he might go back to that one, but he didn't. What did you think about his comments that, and he alluded to week 0 games, more games are lost than they're won at this point in the season? You find a way to beat yourself.
Like, I guess, is he just talking about early season,
Mhm.
like knocking the rust off? And
Yeah. More games are lost than they're won.
yeah, and I mean, I think it's fair to say that you're taking a little bit of a gamble playing a tough opponent in week 1, right? Like you don't really have much margin for error unless it's like Kansas State, Iowa State, and both sides are just really sloppy to start off. But it's the world that I don't know. You want marquee wins on your resume, don't you? So you got to play these games. But
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting perspective. Not that I disagree with it, but we see mistakes by teams throughout a 12-game season.
I did like the one reporter though that asked him, said y'all are kind of hyping this game up though with the chrome helmets and the drone show, and I just kind of like that. Like, y'all are making it known that this is a very important game. We know how important it is for Auburn, but clearly for Baylor it's just as important in their eyes.
Not that I follow Baylor on a regular basis. I'm a helmet geek. This is the first time since 2017 that they've worn a chrome helmet. They're 5-4 all time in chrome helmets. Just looking for an angle.
Has Auburn decided what face masks they're going to go with? Does Auburn go with a traditional navy blue? Do they go with the white or do they go with the orange? Or the white, I guess, would be the... I say you go traditional.
Yeah, I do too.
Don't do anything silly.
No. Business as usual. It's a regular game, just another game.
Just go all Stormtrooper with the exception of the white face mask.
I think they should all have to wear fun socks, though, since RG3 is calling the game.
Don't give in to that.
Oh, my goodness. The Bears are 1-1 against SEC opponents under Dave Aranda. So it's only the third meeting against an SEC team since he's been in Waco. He had a Sugar Bowl win over Ole Miss in 2021, and they lost to LSU last year in the bowl game.
Yeah, Auburn lost to a team nicknamed the Bears last year. Beat that team the year before. Don't they play Mercer again this year? So this will be the first
I thought you were talking about
two Bear opponents.
The Golden Bears.
Oh, the Golden Bears, yes.
Do you see, speaking of Mercer, do you see their game over the weekend? Because they had their first game this weekend, and it got canceled in the middle of the game because of the weather, and so it's just, doesn't count.
Down in Montgomery.
But they got a good ways into the game. I'd be a little ticked off, but
they're playing UC Davis, right?
Mm-hmm. Just kind of a bizarre start to football season.
Yes, it was. So we've heard from Mike Norvell and Dave Aranda. We've got Kalen DeBoer coming up at noon. 1:30, we'll have Hugh Freeze. And we got calls at 1-800-239-WJOX. When we come back, we'll get to your calls, and we'll read your text messages next. 11:18 here on Reaction Monday. Kalen DeBoer coming up at the top of the hour. Are you seeing cracks in your foundation? Are your doors and windows sticking? These aren't just minor problems. They're signs of serious issues that will only get worse over time. Protect your home by calling Alabama Professional Services. The number is 205-951-9717. The pros really know their stuff. They'll inspect your foundation, clearly explain the problem, give you the honest, pressure-free solution. And they'll be able to fix that to unlevel the concrete that's not level with their poly-level system, whether it's a sinking driveway or a patio that needs leveling up. They can take care of that too. 205-951-9717. Go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
We go to your phone calls as promised, 800-239-WJOX. Our buddy Crimson Convict wants to weigh in. CC, how are you?
I'm good, boys. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. Football week.
Well, listen, Pelham Gator, I'll get to you in just a second. But when did Bob Ross become the head coach of Baylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had like a little easel staying right next to him. He was doing some painting as he was talking.
We're gonna do a busy little blocking scheme. See if we can get us a happy little out route. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
That's very good.
That is good.
Well, Pelham Gator, brother, I love you. I do. You're one of my favorite people on the Terrace. You always have been. But did you go to a Widespread concert last night? Because you're tripping. But, son, in what dimension is Florida State going to get anywhere near 30 points on Alabama?
I thought that was a lot of points.
Well, unless Jalen Milroe is coming back, carrying the football like a vegetarian at a Whole Foods, brother, I'll let you know it's football season. When you got them, look, all the stones are pumped up. Everybody's got high expectations. Don's predicting a double-digit win in Waco. Please tell me he'll be there Tuesday. I will make it tomorrow. Are y'all going to be down there tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to do my best to get down there, and I hope he's there.
No, Don's already he's told us on the text line that he'll be there early tomorrow. So, yeah, he'll be there.
Oh, no. PG. I want PG there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want PG.
PG told me that he will be there tomorrow.
Okay, PG will be there. Sorry about that.
Okay. I'm going to do my best to make it because I got to have a discussion with him. Hopefully he's down off his trip and he's seeing things in a clearer light. But guys, I'm taking the points all day long on Bama.
So you're taking the 13.5.
Do you have a score prediction for Monday? And you can change it, but on Monday, do you have a score prediction, Convict?
Shoot. Yeah, I've thought about it. I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball. I can't dream of 20 points on their side. 14-17 for them. I don't know if we'll make it to 40, but we'll definitely get 35-38. So I'm saying 38-14.
Okay.
38-17. There's maybe a slight chance for a backdoor on them, but I think we'll come out looking good. I really do. And then as far as that Auburn game, guys, I study it, and you need to go on and look at the pick lines. A lot of them are loading up on Baylor. I don't know where they're getting it, but I'm just not going to sleep on Freeze this year. It's just like him to come out and pull something out of his rear like he's always done. And I do see 2 losses for Alabama, and I hate to say this early, and Don is absolutely going to jump out of his seat, but one of them could be down on the Plains this year.
Ooh. Interesting.
Ooh.
Could be. I don't think we'll fall below 10-2, maybe even 11-0 walking into that game. But it's going to be tough. I think that Hugh Freeze is going to have a good year. I don't think his job's going to be in jeopardy next year, but I'll try to make it up there tomorrow. And PG, you better be there, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Crimson Convict. Appreciate it.
Let's continue. Let's go to Josh. He's in Birmingham. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great. Hope you are.
That's great. Long-time listener. I called a lot last year with work and everything. Haven't been able to call as much as I want this year, but I just want to touch on a couple of things. Down in Waco, I think that game is going to come down to 2 position groups. I think Auburn's offensive line and Auburn's defensive line is what's ultimately going to win them that game. I think it may be a little ugly. I think it may be one of those, 17-10 or 24-17 games where there's a couple of turnovers. But I think at the end of the day, I think Auburn will be able to push Baylor around a little bit. And I think, their pass rush with, Kelger, Falk, and those guys, I think they'll be able to disrupt Baylor enough to where, they force a couple of mistakes. And I don't think Baylor's going to be able to run the ball, to be completely honest with you. And I think if Hugh Freeze just gets out of his own way, as sometimes he doesn't do, and just is content with handing the ball off and getting 4 or 5 yard gains, I think Auburn wins the game.
What score? What score? Do you have a score that you would like to pass along?
I'll go. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a couple turns. I think it'll probably be a 4 or 5 turnover game between both teams. I'm going to go 27-21 Auburn.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be Baylor is driving with a chance to take the lead or tie it up, and I think Auburn's defensive line makes a couple of plays, forces an interception or something. Auburn walks out of Waco with a win. Now down in Tallahassee, I got Bama winning that game in a close one. I would take the over with the points. I got Alabama 31-28. I think what people are discounting is 2 things. Number one, Tommy C is in a system now that fits him about as well as any system in college football could. Gus Malzahn's offense is very easy to read. It's very easy to walk up to the line of scrimmage and diagnose. And if all else fails, he can take off and get a first down or get you 10, 20 yards. And then he's not going to – and the thing is, if you as an Auburn fan, one thing I've noticed with Gus over the years is he doesn't really ask quarterbacks to do much than what he thinks they can already do. There were guys in his systems that I think he thought too highly of, and he asked them to do too much. And then he had guys in his system where, they probably could have did more if he would have allowed them. Like there were times when Nick Marshall even, where you were thinking like, man, this guy can kind of throw the ball. Why don't we just let him rip? So if I know anything about Gus, he's not going to overestimate what he has at the quarterback position. I think Alabama on the offensive side of the ball, my biggest question mark with them this year is not quarterback. It's if you go back and traditionally look at the Alabama teams that have succeeded, they've always had 1 or 2 guys who kind of broke the mold of whatever their role was and, made a couple plays in tight games. To me, in recent memory, I think back to a guy like Ardarius Stewart or a guy like Kenyon Drake who, kind of had a defined role, but at any point in time, they could break one for 80 and get Alabama out of a jam. I don't know if they have found that guy yet. I think Jam Miller could have been that guy. Because I think, with what he can do catching the ball out of the backfield, as well as, running the ball in that offense, I think he could have been that guy who, made a couple of plays and got some momentum going. I don't think they're going to have that guy in this game because I don't think you can just throw a bunch of deep balls to Ryan Williams and say, hey, just go win these 50-50 balls all game. So,
Josh,
I think it's going to.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're welcome to call anytime. Really good synopsis of both of those games we're going to get coming up. First on Friday with Auburn and Baylor, and then FSU and Bama on Saturday afternoon.
For me in that game, and we won't give our picks on a Monday, but the way I'm leaning is the issues that Baylor has had, especially last year. I know it's a different team, but you can look at their numbers from last year. They were 11th out of the 12 schools in the Big 12 in regards to their passing defense. That's a problem when you go up against one of the, if not the best wide receivers core that you're going to face in college football. And they were 27th in total passing defense last year. I mean, are you able to improve that much? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And going against the likes of Cam Coleman and Singleton and Simmons and the rest of the guys. I mean,
Dave
that's
Aranda
tough.
alluded to this as well, but if Auburn's offensive line, if they can come in and be really physical and push them around in the running game, then I think it's a long night for Baylor. Baylor's going to get some points, but if Auburn's offense is able to dictate and you get what you hope you get if you're Hugh Freeze from Jackson Arnold and that receiving core, it should be a good night for Auburn.
Should be a good one.
Back to what he said, though, with Gus, and we've said it. I think in a game like this, whether it's scripted, how long that goes, how much success Castellanos is able to have, but he's going to have success.
One, I said it last week, don't be surprised if Alabama's down 7-0 early in that football game because Gus has drawn up just a fantastic opening drive that they've practiced now for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it's about how do you respond to that? Because, I mean, Florida State's going to get theirs, right? They're going to score some points. It's just a matter of if you're keeping them in that 21 points or less kind of range like we've been talking about, then you should be just fine. Because I don't think anybody's worried about Alabama being able to score points, but
those linebackers are going to be tested for Alabama early.
Yeah. Defensive line's going to have to be able to create some pressure, make it uncomfortable for them.
And they're calling for rain on Saturday at Doak Campbell.
Woohoo.
So,
well,
run the dang ball.
You got a different quarterback handling the ball, so maybe it won't be as bad as what we saw in the bowl. Or
yeah, hopefully not.
Maybe the game versus South Florida last year. Other games that didn't involve rain, but I digress.
The Oklahoma game, well, it was dark. It's hard to see.
And the lights were on.
Yeah, it's dark.
Some involved in that game, it appears that ball handling is
what was the
still an
Vandy
issue.
excuse? The cranes? Maybe the sunlight bounced off the cranes in the end zone?
It was too sunny then, Pat.
It was.
Too sunny.
Okay. There was too many Alabama fans there.
That's right. It was distracting.
We will continue with your phone calls. Top of the hour, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer. This is 3-Man Front on Reaction Monday on Jox. So the Alabama offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, he is behind the microphone as we speak. Kane Womack, he will be behind the mic in about 10 minutes. And then Kalen DeBoer, we will carry those comments live at the top of the hour.
Well, if you're looking to lose weight this football season just to feel better about yourself, feel better about your body, well, you can do it with our friends at Mandu. And the great thing about Mandu is because of the technology that they have there, they've made it convenient, easy to fit your schedule during the busy fall that you have with kids, events, football. 15-minute workout, you're going to get results. I've gotten results. So many others that have tried Mandu have gotten results. It's electrical muscle stimulation fitness. They put you in a suit. They hook you up to a machine that sends electric pulses to various parts of your body, and it's 15 minutes. That's the equivalent to 6 hours in a gym. And your first visit is free. They'll put you through the workout. You can try it for 15 minutes, decide if you like it or not. I can guarantee if you do like it, you're going to get results. Mandu in downtown Homewood. Tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from 3 Man Front and Jox sent you.
So earlier this morning, there was an early release of the coaching responsibilities at the University of Alabama, and Ryan Grubb will be the only coach that will be in the press box coaching. All other coaches at Alabama will be down on the field. That's not, Kane Womack. He was down on the field all last year.
No, I know what it said there, Pat, but any support staff.
Yeah, they'll be up there with him.
I was going to say, you need extra sets of eyes.
No, there'll be plenty of
coaches.
Yeah, there'll be plenty.
Ryan Grubb doesn't.
Maybe he doesn't. Everybody get out.
Now, he was just talking about that moments ago. They just said, is this odd that, you're on a staff where you're the only coordinator that will be in the press box, that everybody else will be on the field? He goes, I'm going to do what I've always done, which is been in the press box, and I'll have my support staff.
Hey, you have the success you had against LSU last year. There'll be no coaches in the press box at the end of the game.
Yep, very much
Just got to call a good game.
So we'll see if Kalen DeBoer, how his mood is at the top of the hour. As we heard Mike Norvell. Sounded like typical Mike Norvell, and then Dave Aranda put us all asleep at 11 o'clock.
And Kalen DeBoer, he's not the most animated, but golly, neither
He's
is
better
Hugh
than Dave
Freeze.
Aranda.
Yeah.
Both of those guys, I think, maybe a little bit more inflection. We got a lot of comments on that, by the way.
So a lot of people have been calling in, talking about their, not their locks of the week, but just their picks of the week between Alabama and Auburn games, Molly. And our Twitter poll question today has to do with who we think the lock is of the week.
Yeah, so we gave you 4 options. We gave you Texas +1 at Ohio State, Alabama -13.5 at Florida State, Auburn -2.5 at Baylor, and LSU +4 at Clemson. And right now winning with 39.7%, saying Alabama -13.5 is a lock against Florida State. Coming up next, it looks like we got a close second. So Auburn -2.5 at Baylor with 22.8, Texas +1 at Ohio State with 21.2, and only 16.3 saying LSU +4 at Clemson.
Early this morning, Conrad, this thing was a runaway. I mean, this was like 55% was saying the 13.5, that Alabama was going to smoke Florida State. And now all of a sudden, this thing's gotten a lot more respectable. And with Texas +1 and Auburn -2.5, that's kind of battling it out right now for the second most lock of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's surprising that Alabama, and I know more Alabama fans that vote, and we do. That's the reality of the audience that we have. But I think when you just, first off, I'll say this. I don't think I would be absolutely shocked if any of these teams lost on Saturday, even Alabama. I'd be disappointed, but I don't think I'd be absolutely shocked. But I do think that with LSU and Clemson, right, that's kind of a toss-up. Ohio State, Texas is a toss-up. I think Auburn, Baylor, and Alabama, Florida State are in a different kind of category in terms of being locks. I feel much better about those games than I do Texas or LSU this weekend.
Ryan Grubb is done.
That was it?
That's done. Like, he was there maybe 6 minutes.
It's the Mike Leach special right there. That's impressive.
Efficient.
Like, when he walked up, he didn't even have an opening statement. It was like straight to the questions, and he's done.
They don't have time for questions, Pat. They're game planning.
Talking season's over. Your question, please.
Back to the film, I guess.
And back to the phones, 800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Beham Dog. Beham Dog, what's up?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I think the conversation with Ryan Grubb, Dave Aranda and Kalen DeBoer would probably like being at your friend's house and watching an intense battle of Pong on Atari.
Back and forth.
Yeah, but very slow. Yeah. Anyway, I don't understand all this foosball talk this week. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not a big fan of college football. I need y'all to dive into last night's Air Guitar Championship that aired on ESPN Ocho. Dive into the analytics and break down what you guys saw, and I will check you guys out tomorrow, and we can discuss in greater detail. Have a great week, guys, and
Appreciate it.
Go Dogs.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I'll admit I did not see that on the Ocho. Did you?
Mm-mm.
Molly?
No.
Conrad?
Negative. Didn't know that was.
I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know that it was on television for you to watch.
No. And to be honest, I don't even know if I'll go back out and check it out for like even a minute.
Air guitar?
Yeah.
It was in Finland, right?
Got to have good wrist technique.
Is that where it was?
I go air drums. Rarely do I go air guitar.
We should just have an air band, right? Somebody on vocals, bass, guitar, drums. I think that'd be entertaining.
I'll go keyboard occasionally if I'm the passenger and a good song comes on when I'm riding down the road.
Could have the triangle,
Maybe.
the air triangle.
Yeah.
Got to stay on rhythm.
Bruce Feldman of The Athletic, he is predicting Alabama to make the college football playoff as a 4 seed. He has them beating Ohio State. Then they would go on to play Clemson in the semifinals and lose. Clemson would play Penn State for the national championship, and Clemson will win a national championship again for Dabo Swinney, according to Bruce Feldman. So Bama would be a 4 seed. Georgia would be in as an 8 seed. LSU would be in as a 6 seed. But Miami would upset Georgia, according to Bruce Feldman. Also from The Athletic, Manny Navarro, who is a college football writer, he went and gave a detailed prediction for every one of the top 25 teams. And for the Alabama Crimson Tide, he said the following: I feel better about the Crimson Tide than I did back in February. A road win at Georgia in September bolsters Alabama's resume, and Kalen DeBoer makes the playoff despite being upset on the road at South Carolina and Auburn. So he wins at Georgia, loses at South Carolina and Auburn. Do you take that, Conrad? If we could tell you right now, as an Alabama fan, you beat Georgia, but you lose on the road at South Carolina and Auburn, but you make the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'll take that. And I know some people would say, oh, well, but not with the loss to Auburn. Just get in the playoff.
You feel better about this Alabama team than you did back in February?
Yes, I do. I feel good about it. I really do. It doesn't mean there's not question marks. Doesn't mean things can't go wrong. But from everything that I've seen and the people that we talk to that are closer to the program than we are, there's a reason for a lot of optimism. Doesn't mean that it's going to pan out, but the pieces are there.
I talked to somebody who I will not mention. Everybody would know him. He played at University of Alabama, well-known guy. And he was telling me yesterday that he thinks that this first game is going to be a little bit trickier than some Alabama fans think. A lot trickier, actually, is how he said it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think too many people are banking on the Florida State from last year to show up, and that's not the team that you're going to see on Saturday, I don't think. But, again, in my opinion, I think Alabama, I'm not saying that it won't be close at certain times, but if they are the team that we think that they are, you should not have too much trouble this Saturday.
And the number one reasoning was, he said, I've been Gussed too much.
I do think if Gus Malzahn was not the offensive coordinator, a lot of people would feel a lot more confident about Alabama. But, hey, Gus is a good OC. We'll see what he can do. He's had a lot of time to prepare.
Yep. We'll continue with their phone calls, 800-239-WJOX. As we continue, we got Kalen DeBoer, his press conference coming up at the top of the hour. Hugh Freeze in the 1 o'clock hour. We continue. It is a Football Monday, Reaction Monday, Look Ahead Monday here on Jox. 11:46 here on this Monday, week 1 of the college football season, officially beginning Thursday night. Talking Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, his weekly press conference coming up at the top of the hour. Auburn, Baylor coming up on Friday night. Hugh Freeze, his press conference can be heard right here at 1:30. We continue with your phone calls and your texts. Let's go to Greg first. He's in Russellville. Hey, Greg, how are you?
Hello. Good to talk to you guys and girls.
Great to hear from you.
Well, it's been a little. I've been traveling all summer, so I've kind of been out of the pocket. But I just wanted to say about the ball games. I'm a big Alabama fan, but since NIL and the transfer portal got all cranked up, I'm just never confident about any game. I've lost all of that.
Too much parity.
Because you can transform a team. I mean, you can be 2-9 one year and be playing in the playoffs the next year. I mean, it's just like the NFL in the playoffs. I mean, a terrible team could be playing for the Super Bowl the next year. So I'm just not ever comfortable. But I was just hoping we'd gotten rid of Waffle House Gus. Now we get to see him again. But anyway, I just want to say, Dave Aranda. You know who he reminds me of? You'll never believe who I thought. I had my grandkids over, and we had some old cartoons on. You remember that dog Droopy? And he was always walking around, and he would say, "I am so excited."
Do remember
like talk like that? That's what Dave reminded me of just now. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I instantly thought of Droopy.
Droopy might be more exciting than Dave Aranda.
Well, he just seemed all excited, didn't he?
He did.
He may see some writing on the wall. That may be why he's not excited.
Could you imagine him going to one of these rubber chicken dinners of some Baylor bigwigs and trying to raise money for that football program? Can you imagine how dynamic that dinner would be?
Or if they sent him to convince Scott Drew not to take the Kentucky basketball job?
He's just a fan. He's a good coach. I'm gonna give him that for sure. But and he's been a little animated on the sideline before, but a few times. But that's just what he reminds me of, because I don't never get over that little cartoon saying, "I'm just so excited."
That sounds just like him.
Well, Greg.
Anyway, guys, that's it. The one thing I don't like about it is being on Friday night, though. I don't like that game. I'm an Alabama fan, but I'd love to watch it, but I got to go support my high school team.
There you go. Yep, I know the feeling. That's what I'll be doing. So.
Well, y'all have a great week.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate the phone call very much. 1-800-239-WJOX. Saw this morning that the University of North Carolina, they have unveiled that they will have a season-long documentary following Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. Did you see this?
Yes.
It's going to be on Hulu this fall. The project will be produced by Ever Wonder Studio. Belichick emphasized in his announcement to the players that the show will focus on the team as a whole. If you remember, plans for a Hard Knocks miniseries with HBO fell apart in March. After lengthy negotiations between NFL Films and the university, Belichick reportedly withdrew at the last minute because NFL Films would not allow his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, to be involved as a producer. It is unclear today if Jordan Hudson will be a producer for the Hulu project. So you will get to see something behind the scenes with Bill Belichick, but according to the head coach, it's going to focus more on the players, not him or his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. Does anybody want to watch a behind the scenes of just North Carolina football without Bill Belichick and his girlfriend?
No.
I don't think this thing's going to be streamed very much.
I think the docuseries should be their personal life and not what's actually going on at the football facility.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in that.
Very small snippet of football.
Yeah. Like, what does Bill Belichick do from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m.? That's what I want the docuseries.
How much of a difference is there in what he wants to watch on TV and what she wants to watch on TV? Does she teach him things about social media?
Can we do the lobster again, honey? Well, it's going to be the strawberries designed like the lobster that you loved so much last time. I want the real thing.
Does she have like wine and book night with former sorority sisters that come over to the house? He comes in, he's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" You know, that kind of stuff.
Has she already joined a bridge club? Because that's probably what, his friends would be into. Do they hang out more with his friends or her friends?
His son's wife and the interaction she has with Jordan.
That would be great.
Just make that its own show.
Absolutely.
You thought the Housewives were bad. The claws in that one. 800-239-WJOX. That's the text line. And a lot of you responding to either callers' predictions, the press conferences that we heard from Mike Norvell at Florida State and Dave Aranda at Baylor. Uncle Jerry from Hayden says, OMG, if Aranda's pregame speech isn't better than his press conference, Baylor is in trouble. Hopefully they can get it done Friday night against the Barners. Bama's defense will make Tommy Boy eat his words and the football. Bama 31-0 over Free Shoes University, RTR, the number 4 life, and go Baylor Bears.
That's bold.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be 31-0, but I like the confidence.
Mike in Andalusia, thanks for listening, Mike. He says, my early bold prediction, my Troy Trojans upset Clemson in week 2 in a sandwich trap game. The old sandwich trap game. For Clemson, after a physical game versus LSU and looking ahead to the first ACC game in week 3 versus Georgia Tech. Go Trojans.
That would be a heck of an upset.
Going back to Mark Jones and RG3, the favorite tandem of one Pat Smith. He would go out of his way to find their games when they would do them on ESPN together.
Mark Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Jones and RG3 was by far the corniest broadcasting duo in all of broadcasting history. They made watching the game extremely excruciating. Whoever was responsible for putting those two together should have been reprimanded. Thank you for the text. Crimson Convict says he doesn't see FSU scoring 20, yet offensively, FSU is far superior to Bama in key positions. Ooh, how about this one? Quarterback, they give the edge to FSU. Running back.
Who is this?
FSU. Have no idea. Didn't sign it.
Is this Dave?
No, it's not Dave. I know it's not Dave. OC versus DC. FSU. Wide receiver versus DB. FSU. Best kicker in the ACC. And then signs it, prove me wrong.
I'll give him the kicker. I definitely think I would take Ty Simpson over the Boston College quarterback that got benched last year. I think Alabama's wide receivers are going to be top 5 group in the country, so probably better than Florida State's DBs. If you want to take Gus over Malzahn, I'll let you have that one. But running back, I mean, no offense, I love Roydell Williams. He was a great kid, and I appreciate what he did at the University of Alabama. That guy's at Florida State because they couldn't get him on the field at Alabama. So, yeah, I'm going to take Alabama's running back.
Our buddy Keller just sent us a pic, texted us a pic, and he is in the end zone there in Conway, South Carolina, on the teal turf, the home of the Chanticleers.
Very nice.
Thank you, Keller. We appreciate it. He was in Kansas, last week? Pretty cool job. More of your texts, more of your phone calls. How about some Kalen DeBoer, Alabama's weekly press conference, previewing the game in Tallahassee. Coach DeBoer is next on 3-Man Front.
It is 12 noon. Welcome back in on this Reaction Monday. We've already heard from a lot of coaches, Mike Norvell, Dave Aranda. We're going to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama now, and we're going to give you an opportunity to hear from Kalen DeBoer as his team gets ready for the Florida State Seminoles coming up on Saturday.
Got you crunched in here a little bit more, huh? Didn't know if that would deter you away. I guess you hadn't had a chance to see what it looked like. But good morning, and I know you guys got a chance to meet with the coordinators, but it's game week, and it's a great feeling for everyone, right? You guys included, and so excited about this last week of preparation. Guys, I think are in a good spot. We continue to, have those things continue to be healed up here nicely last week, and so getting, like I said, time to play, see where we're at, and I think this team that we got here going on the road, be a great test with Florida State. We know that from the coaching staff, head coach Coach Norvell and 2 new coordinators, been a lot of film for us to pour through. We know that they've done a great job over their careers individually and now collectively. Know that we're going to face a good test here this weekend. So, a lot of work putting into that last week. We'll continue to do that, and proud of our staff, proud of our team on all the focus that they've had just on keeping the main thing, and really taking it one day at a time. And I think there comes a point now where you do have to start thinking, because we are so focused on the moment, that time now is coming, and this week should feel different.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Nick here on the far right.
Yeah, other than Jam, do you expect anyone else to miss this game because of an injury?
I would say Jaden Roberts, still in question, just with what he's going through in the protocol and the process there. So he's progressing, so we'll kind of see here.
Going with Charlie on the second row.
Just kind of piggybacking off that, what have you seen from that first-team offensive line, especially Gino kind of stepping in for Jaden?
Yeah, and Gino was here a year ago, was battling, and we threw him out there in, a couple series a game, and he would do a great job. And, I've referred to him as Swiss Army knife guy, can go out there and do a lot of things, so he's really valuable to us. And, really a lot of confidence, not just by me, but I know everyone out there offensively believes in him, and, he's done a nice job. So, really feel like you skip a beat at all. And he was in there competing for that spot in the first place, all along the way. So, he loves us. He there's an energy that Gino, as you get to know him, that you really appreciate. And I think he adds that to our offensive line, in his own way.
Okay, so the left side here to Chase.
Ryan Grubb being the only assistant coach in the booth for game days this year. I think there were only 2 last year. Can you just speak to your preference for having most of your staff on the field?
Trying to think. Last year we had Sheridan up there. Right. Anyone else?
I think Hitchler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant just offensively. The world we're in now, where you have some really high-end quality offensive analysts, defensive analysts that you really trust, and there's a number of guys that will be up in the booth with those, that really have worked together with these coaches a long time. Grubb in particular, you got Mitch Dolan and Tyler Hughes, not just Coach Grubb, Ryan Grubb working with him, but myself as well, and so a lot of trust that you just have, and I think being on the field with our players is an important piece, and as long as we're getting the information we need from up top, that's important. I think the other element that gets added to this that changed a year ago is the iPads, and we can see everything on the field. I can see it all on the field. Maybe not in that moment, but we can understand, why something happened, good, bad, ugly, whatever it might be, and we can make those adjustments by seeing on video as good as anyone, because that's got both views, the wide and the end zone shot. So we can make those adjustments on the field with our guys, and I think that's important for our coaches to be there with our guys, which is why you see more of the coaches on the football field.
Go to Katie, second row in the middle.
When you're breaking in a new quarterback, some new players along the offensive line on the road in the first game, what's the benefit to having an experienced guy like Parker at center?
Yeah, and Ty, I understand this is his first game, but just with how long he's been in college and, he's got, a few games under his belt in different ways, but, it doesn't feel like maybe it feels that way for him, but I got a lot of confidence in him and just his emotional maturity and where he's at there to be able to take this in stride and it not be something that's overwhelming to him. So, but as you referenced with Parker, just those two guys working hand in hand, being team captains and the energy, or just the way that they kind of infuse energy into our team, but also do it in their own way where they can stay calm themselves. You feel very confident in what that's going to look like on game day with Parker running the show and, Ty there, hand in hand with him.
Go to the back of the room, Mike.
For the team in general, just what are some of the points of emphasis going on the road this year where you can improve upon last year?
I think starting fast, right? You got to start fast. You dig yourself a hole on the road. It gets hard. The crowd gets behind the home team, and that comes down to execution, which comes down to preparation and the work that's happening on the football field. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's the same old thing, but starting fast and giving yourself, not that you don't have the belief, but like another level of like momentum, and so. And as much as anything, taking it away from them, especially in an environment that we know is going to be a good one down there in Tallahassee.
Front row to left, Colin.
Hey, Kalen, I know that we've talked with Kane a little bit about this, but what have you seen from a guy like Dijon Lee, kind of coming in, being, Kane called him, we see him as a starter. I'm curious about how you've seen him kind of grow over the course of the last few months to kind of put himself in that position.
Yeah, I mean, when that comment right there, I guess the way I'm hearing it is how I'd feel. Like you have no problem putting him out there on the football field, and there's a maturity. Use that with Ty and Parker and our team, but there's a maturity that a freshman has, and I felt like Xavier Brown had that last year, and there's other guys too, but to specifically focus on Dijon, he's had that even just when he doesn't even know what he doesn't know in spring ball, there's something about his presence and just the way he is, and it's not about being as tall or anything. It's just about the confidence to go out there and play, and I know that's all part of it. You got to have the skill set, and he's just done a great job being consistent from the first day he got here, winter workouts to where we're at today, and you keep throwing more and more on his plate, and he rises to the occasion. So you feel very comfortable putting him out there on the football field.
Front row on the right, Tony.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the last time you were on a team or coaching a team that was starting on the road was Southern Illinois in 2013. Do you even remember that game? And what do you draw on, I guess, from past experience to get your players ready for, getting a road environment right off the bat?
Eastern Illinois. Did we play Eastern Illinois? Who did we play?
Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. Okay, I was the year before we played at Eastern Illinois, maybe. So. Yeah, I was trying to think back. What was your just kind of what the question? What are you looking for?
Oh yeah, just do you draw back on anything?
Yeah,
from either playing experience.
That was so. Yeah, it's been so long. I think you just go back to any big road games that you play, and this one being the first game of the season, the first one's always big. It's always the biggest because it's the next one, and then. I think just, getting the season off to a good start, that's important. That makes it big. So in all these ways, I think what it does is it gives you an urgency during fall camp, playing these games like this. Just kept, I think, the focus of fall camp at a high level, knowing that, you got to be at your best because your opponent is. And we know they got a lot that they want to prove. They're going to want to open up their season in a big way. So, again, I think the guys have done a great job of just focusing on us, focusing on what we can control, being in the moment. I know those are cliches, but I think these guys have really done a good job.
Let's go to Jamie, back row in the middle of the room.
Hey, Coach, going into year 2, what changes have you noticed, whether from leadership or locker room culture, have you noticed that gives you the confidence that this team can handle the big moments this season?
I think consistency in practice, consistency with how guys handle each other when maybe there's a moment that doesn't go as well. And it doesn't even have to be on the practice field. It can be anything. And then just accountability to each other, if there's something that's just not to the level that they know, it doesn't mean that someone did something wrong. I'm talking about at the level, and making that guys that are new to the program understand what that level should be. There's just a great investment that you see, and that leads to the consistency that I'm talking about. And, there was maybe a practice where there's more on their plate and school starting and things like that, just you could feel it was different, that they needed to get out of there because they had to get to class, and that feels different because the guys are always putting in extra work on their own after practice. But in the end, I really feel like these guys, their investment's been at extremely high level. And if there was a rep or two in practice that didn't go their way, those individuals that group together, I missed a pass, they're going to put in the extra work and get that pass right after practice. And so, these guys want it. They want it, and the actions have supported, the work that it's supported through the work they've put in to reach their goals.
Let's finish up with Kennington on the front right here.
In regards to the offensive line, I know you mentioned Gino, as a potential to replace Jaden. Is there anybody else in the depth part of the offensive line that earned their way to being considered for rotational snaps on Saturday?
Nothing probably to the extent that we had a year ago, where we were very intentional. Gino, and then at right tackle, kind of rotating there too. So nothing to that level right now. Doesn't mean we don't feel comfortable putting some guys out there, but especially with this group, I'd like to get out there and generate some continuity, some momentum. I remember last year, the first play of the game, I think Parker's helmet flew off. Proctor got hurt in pregame. So by the second play of the game, we had two new faces on. So hopefully we got a little better luck here this year when it comes to that. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of the unit and the group that we'd like to have out there, most of the snaps. Doesn't mean that a guy here and there might float out there for one series, but it's not something as intentional as we were a year ago.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Real Tide.
That is Coach Kalen DeBoer as his team gets ready for the Florida State Seminoles coming up on Saturday. We'll break it down for you when we come back. This is Reaction Monday on Jox. Alabama, Florida State coming up this weekend. We'd love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Week 0 now in the books. Now the rest of college football gets an opportunity to play this weekend as all SEC teams will be in action, including Auburn Friday night taking on the Baylor Bears. Then on Saturday, Alabama against Florida State.
Kalen DeBoer, his press conference, anything that you guys thought was noteworthy that you didn't expect him to say, how he said something?
To me, the whole demeanor, and it should be different than what it was last year at this time as you go into week 1 as the first ever head coach at the University of Alabama. A little bit different than what it is this year. I'm not saying he sounded overconfident, but I think they liked the way that camp wrapped up the last week or so. And he feels really good about this football team. Now, it's time to go out and perform, and we'll see what happens. But I think he likes where the football team is.
Well, and I think it goes back to what we said when we, were hearing from him in Atlanta, right? It's, like you're saying, maybe it's not overly confident. He just sounds more comfortable, right? It sounds like this is his football program. He is the guy in charge. He's not looking over his shoulder. Oh, what's Nick Saban think about this? Should I ask Nick for input on this? It feels like he is the head coach of Alabama football, and yeah, I think he is confident. I think, like you said, he's happy with the preparation, but he also understands that, it's going to come down to the 22 guys on the field on Saturday, and if they can go out there and execute. You can call a great game, but if your guys don't execute, then it's not going to matter.
So we were just looking at during the break, and we'll hear in about an hour from now, we will hear from Hugh Freeze, the head coach of Auburn. And we were just looking over the depth chart that many of the Auburn beat writers have released on social media. No big surprise. Jackson Arnold, obviously, he's your number 1 quarterback. Deuce Knight, Ashton Daniels, that is an or situation in regards to who the backup would be. Speaking of Auburn quarterbacks, former Auburn quarterback Zach Calzada, he was named QB1 at Kentucky this morning. And how about Robbie Ashford, the former Hoover quarterback who went west to Oregon, played baseball and football for Oregon. Then he transferred to Auburn. Then he transferred to South Carolina. He has been named the starting quarterback for Wake Forest. No word yet on TJ Finley if he is the quarterback anywhere in America. Have not seen that, but he still has his Amazon site. I did check that this morning.
That's good. Hey, good for Robbie Ashford. I'm glad that he got an opportunity to, go and try to be Sam Hartman, I guess.
So he was the backup quarterback last year at South Carolina. Now he's QB1 at Wake Forest.
Show off the wheels a little bit, right?
Red Zone Robbie.
Last year, probably not an opportune time to pick to go to South Carolina.
No, don't think anybody, including him, knew how good Lenore Sellers was going to be, but hey, he's got playing time.
Yes, he does. 205-834-9450. We got time to get to some of your text. And Johnny says, Mark Jones used to be okay, but he let RG3 bring him down to his level. Let's see. Somebody asking, does Jordan have a curfew if they included her in a reality series with Bill Belichick?
I think the better question is, does Bill have a curfew?
Pizza Larry recommendation, Stepmoms of Chapel Hill.
That's a good one.
I love it. Jared from Tennessee, I've seen where Florida State released their depth chart. Roy Dell is starting at running back. Yes, he is. Wearing number 5.
Well, actually, it's an or situation. Him or the transfer from Oklahoma.
I'm guessing Roy Dell gets the start. Lee.
He started for him last year.
He sends in his Bama FSU prediction. He's got Bama 24-10. Sam says Conrad taking Ty Simpson over Castellanos because he got benched at BC is laughable, considering Ty Simpson got benched after coming off the bench versus USF, SF.
Yes, that did happen 2 years ago. We'll find out on Saturday.
Drake asking, is PG lost his mind? I'm a lifelong Gators fan, and I never want Florida State to win anything but PG's prediction of the upset, according to Drake. Silly. Zach says the band Kiss sells air guitars, empty guitar case, and air guitar picks, empty pick bag. Gavin, call me biased, but I think every SEC team rolls this weekend except LSU being the lone loss.
I think Texas is going to have their hands full.
Yeah, I don't know about every
Against
school.
Ohio State. I think I would give the lean to the Buckeyes right now on that one.
Bama hater asking, where will the witness protection secret location be if FSU beats Alabama? Wouldn't be secret.
It will be at my house. Come on, come on.
In your closet?
We'll grieve together. Sure.
I'm a Bama fan. Playing at Witchcraft Stadium equals Bama loses Iron Bowl. Jimmy, y'all, college football is here. I'm making smoked wings and gluing my rear to the couch.
Sounds like a nice Saturday.
Make sure the wings are done.
Yeah. Good call.
Casey says, imagine being a Baylor football player having to sit through a motivational speech from Dave Aranda. I bet he really gets him going. Jeez.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Imagine, it's you just had fall camp. You just went outside practice. It's 110 degrees on the field. You had a workout earlier, and then you got to sit and listen. I'd be falling asleep. It'd be hard not to nod off.
Got the AC.
Yeah, that'd be tough. He's a good football coach.
Dave Aranda is about as soft-spoken as I've ever heard any coach to be. The coaching thing doesn't work out. He could read the childhood bedtime stories on audio. That was my guess.
He would be really good at that.
This is great. Just a nice, soothing voice as you're trying to go to sleep.
It's almost impressive how he has no inflection, no emotion. Like, it's, I don't know, it's almost like a gift that you can even do that.
This is the tough one from Josh. He wants everybody to give their response. For three-man front, you have to pick one. RG3 calls your game or Beth Mowens?
I'm going Beth Mowens.
Welcome.
Yeah,
I'd take Beth.
I'll go Beth.
I would probably take Beth Mowens as well. Yeah.
Brant says, my Lord, I almost fell asleep while driving, listening to Dave Aranda talk. Another one. Boy, he sounds fired up, don't he? James says Dave Aranda needs to go do golf commentary for CBS. I was driving and was fighting falling asleep.
I wonder what it would sound like if they beat Auburn. You think it'll be any different? His inflection?
No.
His excitement level?
No. Even keel.
Maybe he's on beta blockers.
Maybe
so.
Someone was asking, can you guys get a counter on Norvell's presser, Zach and Huntsville?
It was funny as they, because we played it off of, they had it on their YouTube channel, and so they have like a live chat going on, and apparently that's a bit of a drinking game amongst the Florida State fan bases. You listen to a Mike Norvell press conference.
That explains a lot on Tuesday with FSU Dave, why he drinks so much.
Yes. So apparently that's the drinking game. You listen to Mike Norvell talk, and every time he says you take a drink. Apparently it gets you quite inebriated.
Makes perfect sense.
I'm glad the fans can have fun with it.
We thought FSU Dave had a problem. Turns out he's just a loyal fan.
No, he's just playing a game.
Trying to play the game.
Yeah, that's all.
You want to be part of the group. Didn't a season opening loss to Alabama start a Florida State slide last time? Ooh, good point. Was that DeAndre?
Francois.
Yeah,
24-7 was, I believe, the final score of that game.
Andrew said Dave sounded like a turtle on Xanax.
That's my favorite. It's a good way to describe it.
This one rolls in. Landrum, I thought you might like these pics of a rehearsal dinner cake that was made of Truist Park. Go Braves. What? Oh, wow. You seen this, Pat?
Uh-huh.
That's a cake that I would never want to eat. You just spray it with something where it stays that way, it doesn't mold, and you could display it in your home?
Wasn't like when you get married, aren't you supposed to save part of the cake and then eat it on your 1-year anniversary?
Yeah, freeze it.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, my son did. They froze a piece of both of the groom's cake and the bride's
Something
cake.
about year-old cake.
Frozen year old. Ugh.
Pass on that.
We got a vote for RG3. The modern hobo texts into the show and says, insulted, there's no way Mowens calls a better game. Well, first of all, they have different roles calling a game. She is play-by-play, and he is analytics or color.
See, and I'd much rather listen to a play-by-play person that maybe I'm not a big fan of with a decent color analyst as opposed to a great play-by-play caller and a bad color analyst, because then you're going to get a lot of rambling and interjections and things you just don't need.
As you knows go, I'll put DeBoer up against anyone. That was Cowboy. Cowboy's still a fan of Kalen DeBoer.
He does say a lot of, he starts a lot of answers like that.
Dave Aranda's the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ben Stein. Bueller.
It's pretty good.
Anyone?
Bueller.
He's even softer spoken than that, though.
You have dry eyes. Did he do the dry eyes commercial? Forever I thought he was Tom Bodette with the Motel 6 commercials. We'll leave the light on for you, but
yeah.
Turns out no, he's not. It's actually another guy. They kind of sound. Baylor coach reminds me of David Duchovny from X-Files. Oh, I hadn't seen that show in a minute. Yeah? Yeah? About the same amount of enthusiasm.
I just want to hear one of his pregame
Fat Joe
speeches.
says, can you play that Baylor's coach conference again? I caught the last 30 seconds of it. I'd love to hear the whole thing. You can go back and you can find it. We would not do that to everybody else, Fat Joe.
I was about to say, I don't really know if you want to go back and listen to it, but you can.
Just show up to Social Taco tomorrow, and I will find you a longer version that you can enjoy.
Put it on when you're going to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
That would probably be the best way to listen.
Yep. I appreciate the text. We'll keep them rolling in. 1 hour from right now, Hugh Freeze's weekly press conference coming up here on the show.
Well, another place that you can go enjoy is Big Whiskey's, because they are the place for food of all varieties with a full menu ranging from apps, salads, burgers to steaks. Their bar features unique cocktails, over 120 whiskeys, including whiskey on tap, and plenty of screens so that you can catch all the college football and NFL action all season long. They also offer different food and drink specials each day of the week. They have happy hour, and the kitchen is open late every night. So go check them out in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
Does the SEC roll in week one with the exception of LSU or including LSU? We'll get to the weekend slate of games. Continue this college football Monday edition of Three Man Front right here on your home for college football and more. Jox.
Take advantage of this dry weather out there. Call Golston Tree Service today, because if that old tree is leaning a little bit too close to your house, don't wait for the next storm to make that decision for you. Call Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443. Your trusted local experts at fast, affordable, and professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. Licensed, insured, ready to handle any job, big or small. So call Golston Tree Service at 205-337-4443. Golston also offers 24-hour emergency tree service, 205-337-4443. We briefly mentioned this on Friday because it was one of those stories that started coming out towards the back end of the show. Seth Wickersham, who is a writer for ESPN, he's got a book coming out about Arch Manning. And so in this book, we read an excerpt from the book in which he details the Alabama assistant coaches calling Nick Saban daddy, how some folks in the family wanted Arch to go to Georgia. The others, was looking at Alabama. And so a story came up about Pete Golding and some disparaging things that he said about Steve Sarkisian. So Seth Wickersham went on the Pablo Torre podcast. Take a listen to what he had to say about Arch Manning's recruitment.
Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, all these guys, it got Nick Saban even, it got so competitive and so ruthlessly intense between them as they were trying to get Arch. There was, a moment when Nick Saban came and all of the Nick Saban assistants call him daddy, which is, maybe we don't need to go there this episode. Nick Saban wanted Arch, and maybe if he had gotten him, he'd still be coaching, but he didn't want to appear to want Arch. Like, he kind of wanted his presence to be enough. And, meanwhile, Pete Golding, who's one of his assistant coaches, is the one tasked with landing Arch. And it's getting down to the wire where Arch has got to make a decision, and they're doing a Zoom. And nobody, not even the family members, knew where Arch wanted to go or what his preferences were. Some of the family thought that Georgia was a good fit because he'd be coached hard. Other people thought that Alabama would be good because he could be coached by daddy. Who better to prepare you for the NFL? Texas was kept lingering. And, everyone wonders, what is a modern recruitment like for a guy like him? And it got so tight that Pete Golding was on a call with Arch Cooper and Nelson Stewart, a Zoom. And, people know that Steve Sarkisian, the coach of University of Texas, has battled alcoholism. It's public record. It almost cost him his career, but
famously,
he managed to find a way through it, and he's built a terrific career. And stuff like that ends up being fair game.
Oh, in the negative recruiting of all of this.
Exactly. And so Pete, who's friends with Sark, says on this call, he says, I love Sark. He's my best friend. And then he's like, oh my God, do I go there? And he did. He goes, I hope he can stay sober. And then after the call, Nelson Stewart called him and he was like, Pete, that is f***ed up. And Golding knew it was f***ed up, but he had no choice because, he goes, daddy's on me.
Conrad, what do you think? If Arch Manning would have said yay to Alabama, would Nick Saban still be the head coach?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think one player would have drastically shifted his plans like that, but I could certainly be wrong. But no, I don't think he would still be coaching if Arch Manning was at Alabama.
Just think of that. If Arch would have been in Tuscaloosa, Caleb Downs would still be in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, most likely. It's a possibility. It's a fun what if.
Do you think Steve Sarkisian sent a note to Pete Golding?
I would think that that's been addressed by now. I do. And from a moral standpoint, that would be a difficult thing to do, especially if you're Pete Golding, right? And him and Sarkisian seem to have a very good relationship. That is also, do not think that other schools are not doing the exact same thing, I guess would be my response to that. I'm not saying that it's the greatest thing in the world to say, but you got to do what you got to do. It's a dog-eat-dog world in college football. So if you got to pull those strings and you got to say those things to get recruits, then that's what you got to do because other schools are doing the exact same thing.
Nick Saban was not battling alcoholism, but before he retired at Alabama, Kirby Smart and other SEC coaches used the fact that Nick Saban was getting long in the tooth
They were using that on him for over a decade.
Yeah. How they would go after that.
So, I mean, again, you don't have to like it, but you want the best recruits. Got to play dirty sometimes. Everyone else does it. So
will you read the book?
No, I feel like that was probably the highlight.
Just that?
Well, yeah, it's like when you go and you see a movie trailer, you're like, man, I bet that movie's really good. And then it turns out, oh, all the best scenes were in the trailer. That was it. I could be wrong. I'm sure I'm sure it'll be an interesting read, but how many of those stories are in there, right? Or is that the big one?
Yeah, it's interesting because the excerpt kind of leaked out on Friday, and then obviously you had the podcast, the clip that you just heard. So I have not seen anything else about the quarterbacks that's being featured in the book. So don't know.
Maybe Thomas Castellanos will be in there
after he beats Alabama.
That's right. They'll have to revise the book and release a new edition.
So the Vegas point spreads are out for this Thursday night for those games, and UAB's home game at Protective Stadium. I have seen some offshore numbers. I have not seen any Vegas since this is an FBS opponent taking on an FCS opponent. I've seen it above 3 touchdowns offshore. But some of the other games on Thursday night of note, as I'm scrolling down here, you've got Boise and South Florida. Boise is a 6-point favorite against South Florida. And that is a 4:30 kickoff.
That's a surprisingly good game. Or it should be very competitive.
Yeah, very should be. Jacksonville State's playing Central Florida. I know Molly will be pulling for Jacksonville State against Scott Frost. Central Florida is an 18-point favorite against Jacksonville State. That was Molly in the background. But she will be tuned in at 8 o'clock because in Kansas City, Nebraska, a 6.5-point favorite against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Here's my question. I suppose that Taylor Swift and Kelsey will be there rooting on Cincinnati.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe so.
Man, maybe I need to go.
And then Patrick Mahomes will be there because his son's playing quarterback for Nebraska. So
True.
So you don't think Taylor Swift and Kelsey will be there?
I think actually Travis and Jason said that they would, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Because aren't Taylor and Kelsey pretty much living together now?
Yeah.
So what else are you going to do? Just make bread?
Yeah, a lot of sourdough.
That's all she does now.
Sourdough's good, though.
living in sin.
What, making sourdough is living in sin?
No, them living together before they're married.
Oh, I thought you meant like making the bread.
It's like,
was.
what's wrong with bread?
Nothing wrong with bread.
I love bread.
Me too.
I do too.
I love the carbs. Are you taking Nebraska in the 6.5?
Pat, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about, like, any chance of a letdown?
I mean, there's always with Nebraska.
yes.
There's always a chance of a letdown.
Yes, but
no, I actually.
in your
feel
heart
good
of
about
hearts,
this
you feel
one.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
Will you play that in the office football pool?
I hope.
Probably.
Are you going to sign up for the office football pool?
Yes. Sorry.
None of you have, so.
Oh,
At
at least I'm not alone.
We're about to close it off, so.
I've been busy.
If you guys don't want to be a part of it, that's fine.
I thought I had to give my spot to Bama Hater since he wanted to join.
Let me go buy my groceries first, and then I'll.
Priorities, Molly.
Yeah.
Priorities. All right, more three-man front on this reaction money. This is Jox. Well, week 0 is in the books, but before we put it completely in our rearview mirror, we've got to go back to Dublin. Man, what an exciting finish between Iowa State and Kansas State.
4th down and 3 from the 16-yard line of Kansas State. Beck from the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Hard snap count again. And now Rocco takes the snap, looks left, fires that way. It's caught by Hansen, and he fights for the corner, spins off a tackler, and gets to the goal line. Touchdown, Carson Hansen. Oh my goodness, they flared it out to Hansen out of the backfield. They might review it to see if he actually got across. It's almost as good if he doesn't. And that is gonna do it. How about these Cyclones? Career victory number 100 for Matt Campbell, as the Cyclones win the Aer Lingus College Football Classic.
24-21 was the final. It was ugly in the first half. You had 4 fumbles, 8 punts, 21 points. Fourth quarter alone had 24 points, 3 touchdowns, and 1 field goal. So for those locals that maybe snuck into the stadium to see what this American football was all about, they got to see a really, really fun fourth quarter. Not so much the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, 100 wins for Matt Campbell, and these days just doing it at one place is quite the achievement. I can remember when Coach Dye got close. It was 99 that Coach Dye ended up finishing with in his career at Auburn. But for Matt Campbell to be able to do what he's done, and especially in Ames, Iowa, pretty impressive. And for them to go and get that win, that is a huge win for Iowa State. No, I don't think it really changes the way that I view Iowa State or Kansas State. Kind of the game that we envision, the game that I think Vegas envisioned.
Both teams had salty defenses, and when you're playing on a wet turf like they were, and it's the first game of the season, you can see both offenses struggled. Honestly thought Avery Johnson was going to have a better day, but maybe he was more worried about his dad and brother fighting it out in the parking lot after the game. Not really sure.
Yeah. So looking at Matt Campbell and his record, going back to him at Iowa State, so he's averaging 6.5 wins per season.
Okay, I mean, for Ames, Iowa, yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, before he got there, I mean, they were one of the worst college football programs in the history of the sport. So,
I mean, Gene Chizik got a job at Auburn.
Yeah. After going, 5-19?
Yeah. At least that's what the guy at the airport kept telling everybody. Was that you?
It was not.
Okay.
It was not. No.
What was he yelling the whole time?
We won was it a leader or a winner or not a loser?
5-19.
It was something, not a loser. But
he won a national championship.
He won a natty. Someone asking if we know about a certain situation somewhere, and we will check that out. Thank you, Brad, for the text. And more text rolling in as well. 205-834-9450. And this one reads, that story with Sark and Arch is similar to when Kirby took the UGA job and took picks at Bama's recruiting board and used that against Saban. Nick from North Birmingham. My picks for the games this week: Auburn 34, Baylor 17, Alabama 35, FSU 20, Clemson 24, LSU 21, Miami 38, Notre Dame 34. Likes both Auburn and Alabama winning.
What did he have the LSU game? Did he have LSU winning or Clemson?
No, he had Clemson 24-21.
Okay.
Reed says Cincinnati and Nebraska will both have both the New Heights podcast and Bussin' with the Boys podcast there. They have a bet, and the loser has to go to the other's podcast or on the other's podcast. Okay. Pat from Springville says the fact that Saban's assistants called him daddy is the most shocking part of this story. About the people calling games, I've listened to sports on the radio all my life. Over the last several years, it's become hard to do. No matter what,
sport, pro or college, the play-by-play guys holler and scream like a bunch of idiots. When something big happens, I quickly turn the sound down so I don't have to hear the hollering and screaming. Most think Vin Scully was the best ever on the radio in his career. How many times did he holler and scream like a fool? 0. Never. Jack Buck? Never.
You got to let the moment breathe, and unfortunately, there are some broadcasters that want maybe a particular moment to be more about them and their voice than the accomplishment of a team in the moment.
Walker asking, does Conrad have plans to go to any Bama games this year? If so, I'll know who to bet on that week.
Guess what, folks? He is going to every single one of them for the exception of one.
Yeah, bad news. So 1-11 season.
Home
no,
games.
2.
Home games.
Well, yes.
Home
yes.
games.
There will only be one home game. So Alabama at best this year will go 7-5 because I will be in attendance 6-6. Sorry, because I'll be at 6 home games.
The Dutchman says, I never change the channel when y'all are on, except for today. I almost nodded off during Dave's presser. It's week 1, baby. Go Irish. 4-leaf clover emoji. Great show as always. Thank you, Dutchman. Mike in Huntsville wants to know, will Bama hater cry more about Alabama when Miami gets curb stomped this weekend? Joe Tess is by far the worst, is what one of our listeners says. I don't want to read that one. Aranda or Belichick toss up. Either way, sometimes you need to check for a pulse. Jamie, Alabama 42, Florida State 10. Roll Tide, baby.
That'd be a good way to start the season.
Pizza Larry says TJ Finley's odds starter plus 2,500, inmate minus 350. I don't know if his legal troubles have gotten cleared up or not.
I haven't seen any updates on it, so maybe he's past that now.
Brandon reminds us about inflation and the nature of college football these days. Crazy stat, Arch Manning will make more in 1 year in college than Archie Manning made his entire NFL career.
Seems about right.
And Michael says, shout out to the official who performed CPR and saved the life of his colleague during the Sylacauga versus Central Coosa game.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Oh, man, I didn't see that. That's wild.
What if, when Dave Aranda gets fired, they hire him and somehow put him and RG3 as color analysts and Beth Moen as play-by-play?
That would be something.
We can all dream, can't we? And Michael wants to know, will Conrad accept Greg McElroy's challenge to learn how to kick on YouTube? I asked if you had to wear the Yeezys. That is not a requirement.
Oh, is Greg saying that in case Alabama struggles continue and somebody needs to step in in Tuscaloosa?
Apparently he challenged the show, being you.
Greg challenged me?
We just decided that you would be our designated kicker if you had to learn how to do it. You get 3 tries, and there's money involved.
For what, 30 yards?
35 yards, which I think it'd be hard enough to just do an extra point.
It'll be tough.
College extra point. Are you going to accept the challenge? You're coming off a win.
We'll see.
All right, Hugh Freeze, his presser in the next hour. More of your phone calls and texts as we continue.
It is 1 o'clock on this Reaction Monday. We will go to Auburn, Alabama at the bottom of the hour. We will hear from Hugh Freeze, head football coach of the Auburn Tigers, as they get ready to take on Dave Aranda, who we heard in the 11 o'clock hour as he met with the media. We also heard from Mike Norvell and Kalen DeBoer. So it's been a very busy Monday as we kind of gave some live look-ins at these weekly press conferences as week one is right around the corner.
Well, we were a winner with our friends at Prize Picks over the college football weekend, specifically the player projections for Saturday. You can be a winner too. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. You can join millions of users. Sign up today. It's really simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WJOX. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WJOX. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't have to win to earn that $50 bonus. Going tonight, we're going to go professional baseball, go back to the Braves. Braves taking on the Marlins. Ronald Acuna Jr., more or less his stat projection of 1.5. That is hits plus runs batted in. Any combination over 1.5, more than 1.5, he's a winner. Less than that, well, you're losing. I'm going to say he goes more than the 1.5. Spencer Strider on the bump tonight. He has struggled mightily, 15.43 earned run average in his last 3 starts. In his last 6 starts, the most strikeouts he's had in a game is 6. They're saying more or less in the 6 strikeouts. I will go less. I think the Fighting Fish have a fighting chance tonight. If I hit on both of those, I am a winner. You can be a winner as well. Download Prize Picks today. Prize Picks, run your game all season long.
So we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but The Athletic had some oddly specific predictions for every college football top 25 team. So we're only going to concentrate on what was the oddly specific predictions for the season based on the SEC teams. At number 1, Texas, this was their prediction. Manning throws for 3,500 plus yards, runs for 700 yards, tallies 50 touchdowns, leads Texas to a 10-2 season. Texas beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, finishes with the number 3 seed in the college football playoff.
He's winning the Heisman if he puts up those numbers.
50 touchdowns total, 700 rushing yards. That's, I could see passing, but rushing for 700 yards?
There's no way they're going to make him that vulnerable. He would have to play a ton of minutes, and he's not in games that long.
All right, number 5, Georgia. Oddly specific predictions according to The Athletic. The Bulldogs attempted to upgrade at quarterback but couldn't find a better option than Gunnar Stockton. And that's what prevents Georgia from winning the SEC title and contributes to its loss to Ohio State in the college football semifinals.
I can buy that. You get one of those games, you got to have a play from your quarterback, and he's not able to do it. He's tough as nails, and he's better than a lot of Power 4 starters that I can think of. Well, a lot. He's better than some.
I mean, it basically would be
He's
how their
not the
season
worst.
ended last year, right? Where you just went up against a Notre Dame team that was playing really good, and you didn't have an answer at the quarterback position.
We've already gone over it, but they predicted this for number 8, Alabama. They said they feel better about the Crimson Tide than they did back last February. A road win at Georgia in September bolsters Alabama's resume, and Kalen DeBoer makes the playoff despite upsets on the road at South Carolina and Auburn.
I can believe that.
Conrad said he would take that.
Mm-hmm. Just make the playoff.
Number 9, LSU, says Brian Kelly and the number 1 transfer class produce a 10-2 season, earn a trip to South Bend for a first-round playoff matchup.
You see it?
It came out over the weekend.
Oh, that'd be so great.
That LSU spent $18 million on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be more, to be honest with you.
I was about to say, that's pretty good value. I mean, they had the number 1 portal class.
Yeah. $18 million.
Look at old BK.
South Carolina. Lenora Sellers is going to have some electrifying moments as a sophomore, including an upset at home over top 10 Alabama. Still, the Gamecocks finished a disappointing 7-5 after a loss to Clemson to end the regular season. If you remember Brett Norsworthy on Thursday, he said that South Carolina was going to be the biggest flop in the SEC.
I can see Lenore Sellers having an outstanding season, but I can also see South Carolina being in a lot of close games and losing a lot of close games.
Florida comes in at number 15. DJ Lagway's uncertain health will once again put Billy Napier on the hot seat, but the Gators will win their final 4 games to finish 7-5, keeping both the coach and quarterback in Gainesville for 2026.
Lagway's health is the biggest question for me, and I told you guys, I just don't see he or Diego Pavia getting through this season unscathed and not missing at least some time. 7-5 with that schedule, yeah. I think a healthy Lagway, Florida has the potential to go.
Mm-hmm.
Regular season, I think the highest I want to put him is 9-3.
Yeah, I would say that's about
8-4 seems like the sweet spot.
Yeah, because and again, I think that
with a healthy Lagway,
you could see, and I think Oklahoma's in a similar discussion where you can watch these teams play this year and go, man, they look significantly better than they were last year. But at the end of the day, their record's not going to be all that different just because of how difficult their schedule is. But yeah, I mean, how can you bank on a guy? And I hope he plays every game this year because we all want to see DJ Lagway play. But I mean, he's gotten banged up twice last year. Then you had the shoulder injury in spring. Now you have the calf in fall.
Hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, but you can't bank on it.
Because he is so much fun to watch. I got my doubts.
18, Oklahoma, John Mateer will guide the Sooners to a 5-0 start before Texas, Alabama, and LSU short-circuit Oklahoma's playoff bid, and they finish 9-3.
I think if you're Brent Venables, you take that.
Yeah.
You'd be go 9-3 with that schedule?
Yeah.
Because I think Oklahoma, again, I think that's a team that if they go 9-3, they'll have a very good argument to be a playoff team just because of how tough the schedule is.
Yeah, you host Michigan, you host Auburn. I'll give you both of those. I can see that.
That Auburn game's going to be interesting.
Number 19, Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, and one of the best offensive lines in college football will get our attention with a 7-0 start before losses at LSU and Texas cost the 10-2 Aggies a playoff spot. 10-2.
So they're predicting that they go 10-2 and don't make the playoffs.
Yes.
No.
There's no way that happens.
No, I'm not going to give them the win at Notre Dame September 13th. I'm not necessarily convinced that they beat Auburn on September 27th at home. And October 11th, they get a date with Florida. Not 7-0.
Yeah, I don't think they start off 7-0, and I don't think they finish 10-2. But if they do,
and not make the college football playoff,
that doesn't make.
Because you're Texas A&M.
I just refuse to believe that you're going to have 5 teams go 10-2 or better in the SEC this year. I don't think that's happening.
Number 21, Ole Miss. Quarterback Austin Simmons and wideout Caden Lee will lead a high-powered offense, but the defense, which relied heavily on the transfer portal, will take a step back, and the Rebels will finish 8-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
And the final SEC odd prediction for the year, number 24, Tennessee. Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Florida are the 4 SEC teams that will get the better of Josh Heupel's 8-4 Volunteers.
Yep.
Yeah, I would take the other team in all those right now. Yeah.
So there you go. Some oddly specific potential predictions for the upcoming season for the teams in the Southeastern Conference.
Since February, going back to that February, this team looks different. I feel different about this team. Tennessee has changed the most for me.
Yeah, and they've had some very dramatic changes.
Not that I thought that Nico was going to win the Heisman Trophy. But the question marks you have there, Squirrel White's playing for Florida State now. He's got some pieces. I just don't feel comfortable.
I have to say, I think a lot of people forget that, yeah, they lost Nico, but they lost Dylan Sampson, who was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year last year. They lost James Pierce, who was a first-round pick on defense. They lost a lot of dudes. So I think, again, I still think they're floored. They're 7-5, 8-4 kind of team, but I don't think they're making the playoff again.
All right, so we did the oddly specific predictions for the top 25 SEC teams. I'm now going to give you what's going to happen in the Auburn game and the Alabama game. according
For
to
week
The
one?
Athletic. Mhm.
Okay.
For the Auburn game, neither team is ranked in the AP or coaches poll. Still, calling for both to be ranked at season's end, with Baylor reaching the college football playoff even after losing this opener on a Jackson Arnold to Cam Coleman fourth quarter touchdown pass. There's been a lot written and said about Arnold's confidence issues, including from preseason practices down on the plains. That might be the case, but he's still throwing the football to Coleman and Eric Singleton behind a pretty good offensive line. Now, the Alabama game. The mystery here is what Mike Norvell's team, coming off a 2-10 season, looks like with two new coordinators and a roster makeover. The answer, not good enough to beat a playoff caliber SEC team. New starting quarterback Ty Simpson makes Kalen DeBoer look smart, accumulating 275 plus total yards of offense and 3 touchdowns in a comfortable 21-point Crimson Tide victory.
Okay, I don't think Alabama gets them by 21 or more, but I think Alabama wins the game.
I told you last week I was at 38-17. That's still where I'm at for my prediction.
What about the Auburn prediction?
I think Auburn's going to win. I think that's going to be a closer game. I go maybe like 28-24 Auburn. Something like that.
Okay. Some oddly specific information for these upcoming games. I just saw this is what they said about LSU Clemson. Brian Kelly hasn't won an opener yet at LSU, and the streak will continue because of Cade Klubnik. Clemson's offense, even with a new running back, puts up more than 400 yards on Blake Baker's revamped defense. Klubnik's late touchdown run seals the win, covers the spread, and Kelly bangs the table in frustration at the post-game news conference.
Speaking of hitting things, do we get a Ryan Grubb camera shot when he's up there in the booth at some point this season where he's taking tablet, iPad, headset, pen, spit cup, and having a come apart because of a play?
Oh, you might get that the first game.
That's what I'm banking on.
New quarterback.
Oddly specific coordinator reactions
Yeah.
that we get this season.
I do want a Brian Kelly. I mean, the one of him last year banging the table. That's an all-timer. Need another one of those. Great meme.
Oh, well. When we come back, we'll do some Pat Ponders. We will hear from Hugh Freeze coming up at the bottom of the hour as the Auburn head coach has his weekly presser as he previews the Baylor game. All that straight ahead on Three Man Front. It is 1:17 at the bottom of the hour. We will go to Auburn and hear from Hugh Freeze, weekly press conference. A little bit different. He'll be scheduled for 11 o'clock every Monday. Kalen DeBoer will be noon, but because Auburn playing on Friday night, things a little bit different this week for game week. So he is meeting with the media coming up, and we will carry those comments live at the bottom of the hour. Let's do this. Every day I come up with questions. They got answers. This is Pat Ponders.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. 9 acres of inventory. Brand new 2026s are coming in the lot right now. Pre-owned inventory through the roof in regards to pre-owned vehicles. So get by and see them right off of I-459 exit 32 in Trustful. Question number 1. Which loss would change your mind the most about the upcoming season for this particular team? Would it be an Auburn loss at Baylor or an LSU loss at Clemson?
See, I thought you were going to give us the easy answer, which would have been Alabama losing to Florida State. But I would go Auburn, I think, losing, just because with LSU, I think we all expect Baylor to be good, right? But we don't expect them to be a national championship contender like Clemson is. So that one, I feel like you kind of get a free pass if you're LSU to lose. Their fans will be upset, but I think most people could unreasonably see where you would lose that game. I just think for Auburn, there's so much hype, so much anticipation. I think first impression is so important this year for the fan base that, yeah, I think it would be Auburn if they lost to Baylor.
And it's our opinion. Like, what about our opinion would change?
Yeah, which loss would change your mind the most about the results for the upcoming season for either Auburn losing at Baylor or LSU at Clemson?
I'd probably go Auburn, Baylor. I don't know. Right now, I am expecting LSU to lose to Clemson just because Brian Kelly always loses his openers. And that doesn't really change my mind about how the rest of their season's going to pan out.
Unless Clemson now, like, let's say Clemson beats them by 21.
That's different.
Yeah, then
then we have a problem.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
Or if Nussmeier gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys, though. Auburn, Baylor.
I expect Auburn to win that game, but I'm like Molly. I'm picking, I think, Clemson and the LSU game. So.
All right, question number 2. If a child seated in front of you is being disruptive at a football game, do you say something or let the parents handle it?
Oh, I'm just trying to think how a child would be disruptive.
Like, how old are we talking here? Like a 4-year-old kid?
Like a screaming child?
Screaming child, someone that's banging on their seats, jumping up and down for no reason.
It would have to be pretty bad for me to say something.
Blocking your view of the game.
Yeah, blocking my view, that would be a problem.
So what do you do? Do you let the child go, or you say something to the parents?
You say something to the parent?
I can just tell you as a parent, if someone said something to me, I don't care if my kid's acting up or not, we're throwing hands. Like, I'm Avery Johnson's dad. Like, that's what's happening. Like, you don't discipline my kids, I'll take care of it. Now, if I'm not doing a good job of it, but it's not like I'm not having that as a parent. Mm-mm.
No, I'm going to say something to the parent. And if they don't get it under control, we're probably going to be throwing hands anyways.
So me and Landrum's in jail because no one's going to.
It would have to be really bad for me to say something.
Well, again, they're blocking your view. They're jumping up and down. They're having a tantrum. Like
it's a kid.
You're not having a good
But it's a
good
kid,
game.
you know.
So you'll just sit there.
It's a kid, but also the parents should have enough respect for the people sitting around them to realize their kid is probably
correct
hindering somebody else's ability to watch a game that they probably paid pretty good money to go and see.
Now, if the parent isn't actively doing anything.
No, they're not doing anything.
Oh, then I would be mad.
No, but are you saying something to the parent, or you're just going to sit there and be passive and let the kid?
I would say something.
Okay.
Oh, it would have to be really, really obnoxious for me to say so. I guess I have the attitude where, because internally I'm going to be going, okay, it's not my kid, it's not my job to discipline them, but I need the parent to show some sort of self-awareness that they're letting this go on. But at the same time, yeah, I'm not going to be the one to raise my hand and go, hey, you're mismanaging your child, or hey, you're not being a good parent right now. That's not my business. I would probably just let it go. I'm also very patient with that kind of stuff where I would probably move and try to sit somewhere else or something.
Somebody texted me and they said that they would say something to the kid like, your dad's about to get his butt whipped. You need to behave. Do you want to see daddy get his butt whipped?
Also, I will say this, like if it's a 4-year-old kid, I'm going to be a lot more patient. Now, if it's like someone, they got like a 9-year-old kid that's being a turd in the stands or something, then we're having a different conversation.
I went to a road
They know
SEC
better
game
at
with a
that
date,
point.
and the kid in front of us kept doing the shaker and coming back with the shaker, and it hit my date 3 different times. And after the 3rd time, I'd had enough.
What happens if that person in front of you has some type of disability?
That's different.
But how would you know? Let's say that he's got autism.
That would be his parent saying something to me like, hey, sorry, you got to understand. But I wouldn't, if I didn't know, if they didn't volunteer that. But the only way that you find that out is probably by saying something to the parent.
Yeah, and I guess in an ideal world, you would hope that maybe a parent would say, hey, I'm really sorry. I know that so-and-so can be a little bit distracting. You know, they're dealing with this issue. We're really sorry if it's bothering you. But I don't think most parents are offering that information up willingly.
No.
There's some parents that are oblivious to it. If you're at a birthday party and there's only 12 people there and their kid is obviously going crazy.
And let's be honest, you can definitely tell there's sometimes where you're like, okay, this is where the parent's taking the kid so that they can let kid go do whatever and not really have to worry about them and get some, maybe they're not focused on parenting.
It probably depends on how the game's going. To be fair.
Yeah.
Already in a bad mood, I'm probably going to be quicker to say something to the parent.
Did you pay a lot of money for the tickets? Yeah.
Love to sit behind me then. All right, next question.
Pat's trying to fight somebody.
No, it's just, again, y'all aren't parents, so y'all have never been in that situation before.
Absolutely.
So it's completely different. All right, next question. Who do you think is the greatest SEC player of all time in any sport?
I'd probably still go Tim Tebow.
In any sport?
I'm sure there's somebody out there that's...
No, I was just clarifying that
Yes.
Tim Tebow is the greatest athlete that has ever played any SEC sport.
In my opinion, yeah.
Okay.
That's the first name I think of.
Bo Jackson.
That was a good one.
And he gets the edge because he played 2 sports.
I was about to say he played 2.
It's fair.
And could have run track.
I'll say Bo.
So 2 Bows and 1 Tebow.
Tebow couldn't even make it out of AAA.
It's fair. In terms of pure athleticism, I certainly think Bo would be a better pick. I still think
Cam would be a better pick if you're going pure athleticism.
Well, yeah, that's.
over
I guess
Tebow.
I just look at it. Tim Tebow, in my opinion, is the greatest college football player of all time. So I'm gonna give him the nod in that debate for me.
Next question. Theoretically speaking, if the situation presented itself, would you ever date your best friend's ex?
No.
No.
Why are you taking
No.
so long to answer, Conrad?
Time heals all wounds, right? No, I'm just kidding. I could never do that.
I don't like any of my friends' exes to begin with, so no.
There you go. It's
Hmm.
pretty
Unless
easy
we're
answer.
gonna go with we dated in 3rd grade and that's my ex-girl, whatever, some bogus answer like that. But yeah, no.
I don't want the weirdness.
No.
You're going to go out.
No.
You got a couple's date. You're just wondering.
There's just a lot of things that would go through your head of
A lot of different situations.
situations you could find yourself in of, oh, my friend was in this situation too.
You ever see yourself calling your buddy like, hey, did she ever get this way with you?
All right, final question brought to you by BB. Which celebrity death, recent or past, impacted you the most?
I go back to this one. It wasn't the most recent, but Chris Farley. I love Chris Farley as an actor, and whether it was Saturday Night Live or the different, just still watch his movies, make me laugh, and I couldn't believe that.
See, for me, it's probably still Kobe.
It's a good one. Mine's a little random. I know y'all probably won't be. Malu, you'll probably be familiar with this. The one that hit me the hardest was Mac Miller.
Oh, that's such
when
a good
he
one.
died. And that's, again, I know a lot of people, our listeners probably don't know who that is, aren't familiar with him, but he was a rapper. But he passed away in 2018, something like. But he was somebody that, I mean, that was my favorite artist.
I still listen to a ton of Mac
Yeah, I
Miller,
listen to his music all the time. But like when, I mean, he was a white dude from Pittsburgh that
How'd he
became
pass?
really popular. Fentanyl. Yeah, so unfortunate situation with him there. But yeah, that was one where he was a big part of my childhood and, high school. So that one was sad for me.
That's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trussell. Get back to school in a brand new GMC from Courtesy GMC. GMC Sierra is $1,500. Save up to $17,000. Sierra 2500 HD. Get up to $13,000 off. Yukon XL, $5,000 off. Get by and see them just off I-459 exit 32. CourtesyBirmingham.com.
How energized is Auburn coach Hugh Freeze for the Baylor Bears? You're going to find out next. His weekly press conference comes your way on Three Man Front and Jox.
As we wait for Hugh Freeze to get behind the microphone and talk about this week's first game against the Baylor Bears, Nathan King, friend of the program, you hear him frequently on the show throughout not only the basketball season, but obviously the college football season. He just posted an article at Auburn Undercover, part of the 247 network, and he predicts that Auburn is going to go 8-4 this upcoming season. And he says the 4 losses for Auburn will come from these 5 games: Baylor, at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, Georgia, or Alabama. So that is what Nathan King is predicting. Let's go to Auburn now and hear from head coach Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, we're excited. It's finally here, and our kids are excited, and I know our fans are, and we're ready to obviously still work to do, but excited that at the end of this week it's not a scrimmage or a mock game or anything. It's where you really get tested, and I know everyone's feeling that way, and so are the opponents, and I know Baylor will be extremely excited, and Coach Aranda will have his team ready to compete at a high level. And just watching games from that kicked off in the early week, it's a reminder, a stark reminder that mistakes cost you in these games, and hopefully we can play as mistake free and clean on things that we do to ourselves in game one that give us the best chance to win against a very talented team. The returning depends, how you look at their depth chart, but up to 6 guys on defense. Really impressed with 0 and 3. I think those 2 guys are really good players. They got a highly rated transfer, and I think he's wearing 50 from Tulane, the pass rusher. That's a really good player, and 27's a solid guy. And then 11 is returning, linebacker, and looks like a real SEC type player. So defensively, Dave has always done a great job. I have great respect for him, and know that they present a lot of fronts, a lot of movement. And they're very, very well coached and disciplined defensively. You got to, they finished the year probably as hot as anyone in the regular season, winning 6 straight, and got to have a lot of confidence. Played in one of our league teams in a bowl game very close, and it was impressive to watch them compete. So I have great respect for Baylor and for the job they've done in building that program. Dave, I think, is in year 6 or 7 now, and his quarterback is played off the charts good the last part of the year, and they have special talent in the return guy, 35, Cameron, I think's his name, and he's electric, and also a very talented receiver, very talented tight end, and running back that rushed for over 1,000 yards. So they probably averaged 41 points, I believe, in their last 7 games to finish the year. So again, I'm sure they're coming in very confident in who they are, and returning staff and returning a lot of key players. So it's a great task to open the year out there, and we're looking forward to it, expectant big things. Again, I like our team, I like where we're headed, and this will be a great test for us.
Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover. How do you balance opening games by trying not to do too many things, let guys play free, but also make sure you kind of cover all the bases? How tough is that as a coach?
It's tough because you have too much time, and you'll have your mind set on this is what we should do, and then you watch another game or you watch another cut up, and you have 3 more ideas. Those ideas are worthless if your kids can't go out and execute it at a high level against different pitchers that you're going to see. And so I think, having done this a while, I'm very aware of that threat, and we have to balance that off of each other, saying, no, do we really need this? Because you can't get everything repped in practice, and you better rep the things that you think you're going to need to win the game over and over again against the different looks, and give your quarterback all of those looks. So, but that is hard for game one. It gets a little easier when you're in a normal week and you don't have much time. You're going to go with your gut and your first instinct usually in game planning. So that is a challenge in game one.
Coach, you've been coaching your quarterbacks hard this fall camp. Can you talk about Jackson Arnold's preparedness for game one and where you feel he's at? Can you rate that? And then second part of the question, how do you prepare your team on a short week for game one when you've got a Friday game and you're traveling on the road?
Yeah, I'll do that one first. That again, being game one, it's not that you have time to plan. So we actually formulated the last 2 weeks just like it was a Friday game. So we've been able to. It is a little different for sure, but you have to remind yourself that today's really a Tuesday, and you're not normally on that same schedule on the normal week where you're practicing hard on a Monday or a Sunday, but having it be the first game has helped with that. Jackson, I think, is progressing every practice, and I'm excited to see him go and compete in our mock game that we had. I thought his decision-making was really good. I wish he'd hang in the pocket a little more and go through his progressions, and we're working on that with him. But at the same time, he's an athlete that creates some things too when he does escape the pocket. And so you have to balance that as a coach, I think. But he made good decisions. We've got to make sure, again, that we're not doing too much where our receivers, we want them in the right spots at the right time, and making sure, because I think we're athletic enough there to win. Just be sure we're not making stuff up, on a given play because you think you see something, or just do what the play is designed to do. And I think we're good enough there to win and get open, and that will help our quarterbacks. It'll be interesting, how we protect in this game with all the different exotic blitzes that they have. We've got a good plan for that, I think. But Jackson is, I'm pleased with his progression. Also pleased with Deuce and Ashton. Deuce in the mock game the other night was 7 for 7 and looked like nothing fazed him. And again, I know it's not against Baylor, but he was very accurate, stood in the pocket, threw the ball, and was really impressive. And Ashton did some really nice things also. So. But pleased with where Jackson's at. Excited to see him go and see what he does under the lights here Friday night.
Hugh, in the game notes, it had, I think, Derek, Kent, and Rock listed as coaches who will be up in the booth. I know at least one of those is definitely new, but could you just talk, I guess, a little bit about the decision-making to have those guys up there as opposed to on the field?
Say the names again.
Kent, Derek, and Rock.
Yeah, Ken and, DJ, obviously I let him decide who he wants up there defensively with him, but offensively, that's what we did last year. I felt it was best to have both Kent and Derek up, feeding me information and seeing things from their viewpoint when they make calls, for the next drive, and having I think you can think more clearly up there probably, and obviously with the tablet use, you really can get yourself together with them two being together there, have a really good plan for the next drive. So, that's what the thinking is that went into that.
Hugh, where are you guys at health-wise this week, particularly Eric Singleton?
He looked good yesterday. I think he's close to being 100%. We'll continue to protect him a little bit and get him some conditioning, but he'll be ready to give it a go, for Lord willing that nothing else happens this week. But I think everybody's at a point that's going to be able to play that hadn't been already ruled out previously. So we're pleased and thankful for that. Alex McPherson is still going through some testing, and we'll see kind of where he's at the end of the week. But at this point, I would expect kind of everybody that has not been ruled out earlier to give it a go.
Hugh, you were in here last week talking about you wanted to see more from your guys up front with pass protection, straining more, doing that. How did they respond to that? How did you see that group do the last week in that area specifically?
Yeah, they've improved. I know they're very capable of doing that. And again, I say things sometimes that are, and I don't know that everybody hears everything I say. They see 1,000 different looks right now that they probably hadn't been coached very well to protect either. And so, I hope that means we've got some good one-on-one pass rushers. And I think, the thought behind that was I felt like we were losing too many one-on-ones in that. And Baylor certainly has guys that will test us. But I feel confident in who our guys are. And I think it helps when you get in a game and you're not playing yourself, and you would hope. But it doesn't matter who you play. If you stay in 3rd and long, you're going to be in trouble. You're just not going to convert many of those against quality teams like Baylor. So I think what helps our offensive line more than anything is us winning 1st and 2nd down and getting into 3rd and manageable situations where we can do both run or pass. That would benefit them greatly. But they've responded well. Excited to see them have a chance to go out and prove that they're a quality SEC offensive line.
You've got about 30 players or so listed on defense with oars. I mean, just talk about how you feel about that quality of depth that you have there on defense.
My first thought was it's going to be a long introduction, at Jordan-Hare when we introduced our starters on defense. But the truth is that is really it. The strength of our defense is in its numbers, and we've got to continue to hopefully adapt that mantra in our mindset, that it's not about the the quantity of snaps that I play, it's the quality that I produce when I get my chance. And I think that's really our strength is the numbers. And we will play all of those guys, I suspect, on Friday night, and he has all camp. And he rotates them freely. Whoever goes out there, the first group, it's never a sure thing, and you've got to keep producing each day, and the competition has made them all better. We'll see how these young kids do. We've got a lot of youth there that are going to play, and you got to see how they adjust to the game. And usually you're surprised by 1 or 2 guys that you're like, all right, he's better on Friday nights than he's shown, and the others probably true too. You find out, all right, he's not quite ready. He's swimming a bit when the bullets are live, and and it gets going pretty fast. So we'll learn a lot about ourselves, like everyone does in week 1. But I do expect DJ to play all those guys.
If Alex is not able to go, what is the backup plan there? And then even if he is able to go, do you guys plan on using multiple kickers depending on the distance?
That will be a discussion that Alex and I have on Friday. If he feels like he's able to participate, the next question will be, all right, let's be real on the, how are you feeling on distance? And it may be pregame before we know that. So the answer is yes. We stand ready to use other kickers. I think Towns has had a solid camp, as has Gibbs. It's really close between those two as far as what they've graded out accuracy-wise. Towns would probably get the first opportunity there, and we believe in all 3 of those guys. Obviously, Alex is super talented and accurate. It's just a matter of what he feels like he's able to do, and then we'll go from there with Towns and Gibbs.
Hey, it's JG with Auburn Sports, Auburn on 3. My question for you is, you've had a lot of first games. You've been coaching a while. Talk to me about the anxiety you have just kind of going into a first game of the season, even though you've been doing it a while. I mean, you probably don't know exactly how your team's going to perform and that kind of a thing.
You know, I'm not a real anxious person, but the more film you watch, like we've been up since practice has ended, watching more tape. And I did just say to them, I think I need to quit watching tape because the more I watch, the better they get in my mind. And you know, I know they're a really good team, but that does create in you some man. Let's go find out. And so I guess that is anxiousness. It's but I'm full of excitement of this team. I know I've been around enough to know when you have enough talent to win games, and we do, and we're not going to run from that. We're excited about it, and now we've got to go prove that. And I don't know what the results will be on any given game because, as you know, there's a lot of teams that can beat you on a given night if you don't play very well. So that part with some of new quarterbacks and a lot of young guys on defense and all of that, it's a question mark for you, but I'm excited to go see them play. I know they are. When I walked in the team room to talk about our theme this week, they were excited and ready.
That is Hugh Freeze from the Plains as they get ready for the Baylor Bears. We'll unpack some of the things that he said just moments ago. This is 3-Man Front on Jox. It's 152. Welcome back to Three Man Front. This has been Reaction Monday. Appreciate everybody joining us, either calling us, tweeting at us, texting us. We appreciate that. Join us tomorrow at Social Taco. We just heard from Hugh Freeze. A couple of takeaways. He was talking about Jackson Arnold. He has progressed in every practice. Says in last Friday's mock game, Arnold's decision-making was really good, but Freeze still wishes he'd hang in the pocket a little longer. You know, it's been one of the criticisms during fall camp that he has not stayed in that pocket very long, and he has taken off and ran the football. Also, he praised Yellowwood for their partnership for Pat Dye Field, saying we couldn't function in today's climate without the quality of boosters that we have. But he says that he's very excited. It's finally here, talking about week one.
And he should be excited. What he said, it should be encouraging to Auburn fans, is he's been around it long enough, knows when you have enough talent to win. He feels like they certainly have that, but you still have to go out there and prove it. He answered some questions about who was going to be in the booth this year, saying that Derek Nix, also Kent Austin, and Rock would be up there, the same as last year. And what he had to say about Alex McPherson, the kicker, and saying that he's going to do what he's able to do. I know that was certainly an issue. You felt like Auburn had that taken care of this year entering the season, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what Alex can do, as Coach said. But that does not need to be a question mark this year.
He also was talking about turnovers. He says turnovers speak volumes about our season last year. It wasn't just one person's fault. It was coaches and players.
Okay. Yep. You got to put them in good situations, right? Don't set them up for failure. Do you think, going back to the Jackson Arnold thing on staying in the pocket, you think that's nitpicking? Or do you think that has been a glaring weakness in his view of the offense and he's just not saying it?
I think it's maybe more of if there's a room for improvement types, you know.
Like, I don't want to give him too much praise, or this could be an issue if he continues to do this.
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
What's funny, though, is you hear Dave Aranda talking about Jackson Arnold as a quarterback and talking about his athletic ability in the being able to create plays with his legs and on the run, which I think Hugh Freeze has alluded to that being one of the favorite parts that Jackson Arnold has on his game, is being more comfortable when he's on the run and throwing.
Who has more rushing yards this year, Jackson Arnold or Arch Manning? Since apparently Arch Manning's going to have 700
yards rushing, according to The Athletic.
That's a lot. That is a ton. I appreciate all of you joining us here on Reaction Monday, Look Ahead Monday. Thanks for sitting through the Dave Aranda press conference, as well as Mike Norvell. We heard from Kalen DeBoer, Hugh Freeze, and, of course, you. That's going to do it for us. Tomorrow, live from Social Taco, we'll be talking ball. Have a great rest of your Monday. God is great.